Is it hard?
Because I've never heard of that.
Windmills over there?
4:59.
Let's go.
Okay,
Kevin's got.
We got some problems there we're working out.
this is calling together the HGC meeting for April 19th. It's not the 19th, what day is it?
The 23rd.
23rd. And it's down here rather than upstairs, and there's Abby and Val and Lee and Johnny and Stephen and TJ and Jesse is not here. So,
Neither is Ray.
Well, Kevin can
I
have
will
his jelly
say-
beans then.
that if anybody has anything that they would like to say publicly, this meeting is being recorded. If you're going to record it yourself, let us know, but it is being recorded so you can get a copy of it. If you have anything to say that you would like to say publicly that is not on the agenda, then let us know, and we will do so.
That was a strange flavor. No.
I need to have this motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
All those in favor?
Aye.
John, do we have anything we're moving from the agenda?
Nope, this is all up to date. It's
Okay,
all good.
I have to recuse from consent, Madam Chairwoman.
I see that.
As do I.
Phil, you are the consent agenda here.
Okay. So, that seems to be all. So, sitting on the approval will be Stephen, John, myself, and Abby. So can I have a motion to approve the consent
Motion.
agenda
So
1
moved.
through 32?
Yes, ma'am.
Alrighty, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next one is, and you abstain, John. The next one is consent with conditions. And nobody needs to abstain from that. So,
Motion to approve consent with conditions.
thank you. All those for? Aye.
Aye.
Abstaining? Are you abstaining on that one? Okay, and one abstention. The next one is signs,
Okay,
and the sign gentleman is here today.
that's very generous of you. The first one for Brewster Equities is to be held for representation.
Motion to hold number 1 on signs for representation.
Okay, we'll hold. May I have a motion? Everybody who's in favor of holding?
Aye.
Aye.
And the next three are recommended for approval with comments.
Approving.
Approval with comments?
Motion approved with comments from the sign committee?
Thank you. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for
Thanks,
your
Kevin.
coming and waiting. Then we start with old business. And
One sunset.
that is
Grayson's here.
One Sunset Ridge. He's not here.
He's here.
Oh, there he is.
I'm here.
It's the hat.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome.
Okay.
Getting there, how you
Let us
doing?
know what you,
Can't complain.
Got lots of treats there.
Dale, some of these are very strongly flavored.
I know, I just had a strong one.
Butters, puke.
I had
Oh,
a pear
no,
one, I
that's
was like,
not true.
Madam,
Oh,
Madam Chair, sitting is Coombs, McLaughlin, Camp, Oliver, Welch, or Dutra. We do all.
Okay.
So either Stephen or, Stephen, sorry. No, Dutra.
for the invisible Jesse Dutra.
I almost hear him.
John, is the plan that's not stapled a new submission?
No, it shouldn't be.
Okay.
Here's pictures.
okay, do you want to say what you,
Well, I don't know if you remember, this project is the one that's sort of stuck in litigation at the moment about the shed that's being removed.
Right.
We got a consent to remove the shed, and this is the plans of the landscape once it's gone.
So you're gonna move the shed,
Yeah, the shed shouldn't show up on these plans because
you're
it's gone.
just removing it totally, really.
Yeah, you just want, because of litigation, I think the town, the HDC, everything, it's all in litigation from a neighbor. Because everything was done properly, everything was approved properly, but he doesn't like it, so kind of get,
Could I have a question about that? Because I drove by there a couple of times, and
Shed that was
they-
there.
don't we have that proviso that at the time of inspection, we're not going to be seeing, one of the reasons we put in all that vegetation was to hide it, and
Yep.
the strange landscaping, how steep it was. And, I mean, this just tells the story right here.
But the shed is gone.
Okay, the shed is gone, but the landscaping,
so well, it's also the middle of winter, all that fills in.
right,
I'm not so sure, Abby, that was,
proviso?
yeah, I don't know that to be true.
That was his goal though, was to hide it from
Right.
everything. And he also has plans to,
Right, because we didn't want to see those timbers.
right,
You know,
oh
we
yeah, so
don't-
there's plants all in front of that as well, but they just.
Right, I see that, but, I just want to make sure that, because this is right along one of the main streets in Sconset, and I really want to make sure that's obscured,
Yeah.
John, is
the
it-
railroad.
Madam Chair, may I question through you?
Can I just say that Jesse has arrived at 5:05? Yes,
John, is the original application in the folder?
Not, I'm guessing not with this file, but it would be in
It was
the
in-
folder.
It was-
I would just suggest that maybe pull it up at some point for the next meeting, and Abby can, if there's a condition on there with respect to the retaining wall shouldn't be visible at the time of inspection thereafter, just remind the applicant, and then that way we can address Abby's concern and.
Yep.
Abby, is this the 3 tiers of the wall coming down from the house?
Right, I guess so. I mean,
There's
It's-
two
here's-
tiers.
2 tiers.
Two tiers,
Right.
and the client is also speaking with someone from the town about planting more plants on town property. Because
Right.
from that wall forward is all town property, so
Right.
it's in the process of getting permission.
So you don't want to have that much planting on?
I don't want to see those railroad tiles on New Street. I think they're inappropriate.
Right. I thought that the planting was to be thick enough that we didn't see the.
Yeah, but his point is that it's winter, and that's true, so I just, to Steve's point, I just want to make sure that it is part of the,
Yeah, and
Well, we would
either
put
way,
it
there
in
is,
as part of the motion
Right,
today
okay.
to make sure.
either
that
way,
that's
there is
covered.
plans to plant more.
Okay, I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that your thing, if you got more you would like to say?
No, that was a, by the way, it doesn't really pertain to what's in front of us, I don't think. I mean, well, actually, I'm not sure if I agree about a trellis being on that new street either. I don't know if that's appropriate.
The reason he wants a trellis is to sort of protect his privacy.
A pergola.
Pergola
John?
trellis.
Yes,
This was held for what, a view?
yeah.
And more information, I think.
Let's see, previous concern. It's really just held for review, those Mason,
Okay.
the comments. There's some clarifications, but it's for the pergola and the lattice, obviously, and the patio, so.
Yeah, I think I'm sort of worrying about all of that, all of the above, Pat, just because I want to make sure that screening is taking place from things like patios and.
Yeah, well, so that's,
You know.
that's part, so right now, the way it shows on the plan is there's a pergola above with a trellis that drops down, so that we can grow climbing hydrangeas up that sort of turns everything green and gives him privacy. And you shouldn't really be able to see much of the trellising itself. The
Is
other
it
thing,
natural to weather?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. I
you
don't want to
see
make
the
a big
last
deal
page?
about it. Those are my comments, Madam
Did
Chair.
you see the last page?
Second on this.
second to last where you can see the trellis as it would be on New Street.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I've said mine, Madam Chair.
Okay. Val,
I'm fine with this. I was fine with the shed, and I'm even more fine now with this.
Johnny,
It's appropriate.
I'm asking a question. It's the west elevation. So New Street would be on to the right. This is west this way, the opposite is.
Show him,
Here,
Steve.
which one are you looking at?
He wants to see where it is.
The arbor should be at the top of the driveway.
Right there.
Right.
This is the pergola.
Colonel, excuse me, Colonel. Right. All right. No problem. Thank you.
What, thank you, Madam Chair. John, what is this other free sheet?
I think I accidentally snuck one in that was meant to be going to the town to show them the plans for the planting along the street.
Okay, so my only comment with respect to concerns about this is the retaining wall section is different than what exists. It's taught, there's an extra tier of timbers, so I would be fine with making a motion to approve this, subject to the landscape retaining walls remaining as they are.
right, I have, this one, I've only got two,
I'm not suggesting anything, I just wanna make sure.
Yeah, no, they're not changing.
one, two.
If you look at this page,
Yeah.
which is the sheet that was handed out at the table, I think.
Yeah?
There's 3 shown at the upper tier and 2.5 on the lower, and since this is such a sensitive application with respect to
I
that
don't
area.
know. Steve, you gotta show us, cause
I
it
don't
looks
know
like
what
two
this
to me.
It's definitely two.
No, there's another sheet.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
this is it.
This one, Steve?
Now this,
Oh,
yeah, right there, your right hand is on the section. Your other right, yeah. So you see there's 3 and then 2.5. But in the images, there's only 2 and 2.
Oh, you mean timbers?
Yeah, they're timbers.
I thought you meant the amount of walls.
I
Okay.
think,
Oh,
these
Steve,
this one just seems to.
it's because
It goes
one of them
to the
shows what's visible, because the wall does go deeper, but we covered it all up just for.
Okay. It's just that the dirt is showing, more timber is exposed than shown in the images. And since this is a sensitive application,
Gotcha.
I wanna make sure that we're not putting our foot in it. If you're asking for that to change, I
No,
wanted
I'm
to find out that that was the case, and then we could
I'm
determine.
not asking for it.
Okay.
Okay, so,
So, I
does
would make a
anybody
motion,
have a motion now?
I make a motion to approve is submitted subject to the retaining wall not being changed, the retaining wall not changing.
And what
Retaining
about
wall
the visibility?
Not changing, right?
And the visibility is gonna be, John will pull the application. I don't think it needs to be part of the motion. John will pull the application, please, and let the applicant know if it's supposed to be screened evergreen.
And we are going to put in the screening will be in perpetuity,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, everybody wants the screening.
Yeah, okay, so we can do that. That's a plan.
All in favor?
Oh, I had to write down perpetuity.
Thereafter is easier to spell.
All those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
I
Yes.
am abstaining.
Abby is abstaining. Johnny, you voted for it? Okay, that's 4-1. And
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it, thank you.
Since you're doing the whole
Mr.
meeting?
Van Away.
Oh,
Van
I
Away.
would, all right, let me just sign it.
Okay.
You know Van Away? Come on.
yeah, come on, dude.
Can I get an H?
8? Oh, sure.
He was always flipping those vowels and letters.
He still is.
Retaining wall not changing and screening will be forever. Okay, the next one is,
We're back.
65 Center Street, new dwelling.
Welcome.
We're back.
All those,
I feel like the
What-
Spanish Inquisition.
what have you got to tell us?
We fixed the windows on the second floor, they are the same width, and we put the sliders that are up on Lincoln Circle and in Wisconsin into the porch.
And the Were we doing something with the,
It was just put the windows in the porch and fix the windows on the second floor so
right,
they're
I
the
knew we
same width.
had porch windows with this.
Yeah, it's in there.
Is that what we got in the email?
Yes, I had it emailed to you, to make sure you guys are okay.
There.
Madam Chair, sitting is yourself, Abby Camp, and Stephen Welch.
We've dwindled from
Okay.
6 to 3.
Abby,
Well, I already looked at, I mean, got the email and I think this is fine. I do think the windows are a tad taller than what I saw on the email. I mean, visually, now that I see it
In
on
full
it.
size.
I just wonder if they couldn't be more of a square, than such a vertical shape. But,
Are they, the ones up on the cliff are more vertical also, because they have to slide.
yeah, I just now that you've made it so proportionally correct, they just look a little high to me. It just, everything seems, it's sort of all working together now and it just appears a tiny bit high and I don't know what is that a trim piece above it?
Yeah.
That's going.
Yeah, I think that's adding to the verticalness of it. Is there any way that
We
could
can get
be-
rid of the trim piece.
That can be shingles, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be shingles all the way down. We mentioned that a while back. I think you mentioned it a while back to get rid of the heavy trim.
There have to be some kind of flashing around it, so.
so that the top of the porch windows will be the same height as the windows, the regular windows?
Trim piece
I know, I
will
don't
be
think
going.
that can work.
Yeah,
You're talking about the window cap, trim?
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
just to make sure I understand.
It's gonna have to have something to butt up against, but it won't be that. It'll just be a small trim piece,
Minimal.
minimum trim piece.
So thinner will be in keeping with the original.
Yeah.
all right. Stephen, you're up.
I have no comments in addition to my prior comments. I appreciate the changes, but I mean, we know where I'm
I know,
going.
yeah.
So, I don't wanna,
I think it'd
Beat
be
it to death.
yeah.
appropriate, I think taking that piece off of the top, but I think that and that will go around on the side, the east elevation.
Yeah, we'll just minimize
or
the
south
trim.
elevation,
Yep.
it will, make it look like a porch.
Okay. That's through staff?
So, may I have a motion?
I'll try to make a motion, that to approve this, is this quarter inch scale restaurants? If we,
We'll just reduce it as far as it can go, Abby.
Yeah.
Just like 2 inches or something,
I
or
would-
something.
yeah, I would like to,
Wait a minute, we have just one question.
what is, what is the, a quarter inch scale? So it reads, like 6, 7, 8 inches, I guess. Is it 8
No, it's
inches?
just right here is the problem. It has to have this.
This piece.
Yeah, this piece will go
Yeah.
away or down to as minimum as it can go to have a trim.
Well, I just wanna know what that minimum is. Like, so it's just, seems to be a little over, maybe it's 7 or 8 inches.
Is 8 inches, so
They
we'll
don't
take it down
count.
to 4.
Okay, that's part of, that's my motion is to take that.
I'd rather get everything done.
No, there's
Take the
sliders.
trim over the porch windows down to 4.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
and
Leave it
we
alone.
have a,
It turns out it's 4.
so, Linda, what is the light well on the front of the house, is that going to be screened at all, or is that
Oh,
what's?
thank you.
It's just a typical basement window. They have them now. It's just looking behind the porch.
Okay, that's my motion.
could you repeat it, please?
To approve as submitted, reducing the trim piece above the porch on the west and in the
In the
east,
south.
south,
Yep.
by 4 inches.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm a no, Terry.
Are you, okay,
I'm a no on this one.
you're a no?
Yeah, he doesn't like the 2 feet, but that's through staff, right?
Two,
Abby?
2, 1.
Yes.
Staff.
So it is approved.
3. Thank you. And I think the next one's supposed to be off, right?
The next one is, yeah, all submitted, so. I'll integrate it. Continue to
Have
next.
Abby can
or-
sign that.
Yeah, next time.
Motion to hold number 3 per the applicant's request.
Alrighty, all those in favor of that?
Aye.
Alright, then we have
You
number
two.
4,
That's me.
which is
Where?
7, you doing 7 Westchester?
Yep. I don't know what the board is, John, no? I didn't look at that.
It's 2-1.
All right, I can't eat these, I'll be bouncing off the walls.
Sugar.
Got through.
Want them?
Yes.
I'm not sorry.
I don't know.
We told John they're vitamins.
So many designs, like each one
John,
of these
who was
jelly
on this,
beans, each
oh,
one of the
one?
flavors and
Yeah,
looks.
some people do better jobs than others.
Coombs, Camp, Oliver, Dutra, and Welch.
Okay,
And McLaughlin has recused.
Hold on, and Steve, what?
okay,
Okay.
so that is 7 Westchester, what has he got?
All right, so what do we have? Do we have camp? No camp.
I'm a camp,
Yes,
I'm
see,
in,
Camp,
Don't bother
Jesse,
with those.
We recused it.
Camp,
Bother with the-
and,
Don't bother with that.
and me.
Jesse, are you
Just so you know.
Oh, I think the holdup
Status
was
of
the
batteries.
tree, right? You were finding out about
Yeah,
the
I got
tree.
it.
The trees is a town tree.
No, it's not. Well, we went to, jail and it is distinctly not a town tree.
That's not what they said, but
That's what they told the owners.
where's the, do you have a thing from him saying that?
No, he doesn't usually do it, he just tells me. He told the owners when they had him over there that it is not a town tree.
which tree are we talking about?
It's not even a particularly nice tree.
It doesn't make a difference whether a nice tree.
I know, but he said it wasn't a town tree. That's what
Which
we've
tree
been
are we
told.
talking about?
This one that they're gonna take out.
You'll see it on the green. I gave you pictures of the trees as well as color-coded the
I didn't
site plan and gave you pictures of all the other brick
here we
ones
go.
on the street, which is everybody on that side. So Dan, I color-coded the plan.
The wall that you're talking about that moves back,
Yep,
is that brick wall?
it's sort of brick.
Well, it looks brick from here. And the steps are moved back?
Yep. What I did, Diane, make it easier, take a look at the site. I color-coded the whole thing.
This is,
Oh, wait a minute, turn it all over.
9 is,
There you go.
hold for the next meeting.
Yeah.
This is what you're asking for, this is what's there, right?
Yeah, this is, on the left is what's there, on the right is what's happening, so I color-coded the pieces that are changing.
Okay.
So they're rearranging the steps and stuff, it is subdivided legally.
That is to get back to the back cottage?
Yep. So it doesn't wanna go any farther than where all the other driveways are, which are right on the street,
This black line,
is the property line.
what about that house that's hanging over?
Which house?
It looks like retaining wall.
The,
Yeah, it's retaining walls, you get, the house on this lot is the tiny little thing in the back, up on the
Right.
hill.
and who does that, is it a privet hedge or what?
That's actually the round line, the rounded line, that's actually the property line.
Well,
Kind of funky.
Yeah. Does anybody, who's, Abby?
Well, I'm trying to figure it out. What, what would be really helpful would be to, a front on sort of stepping back as you look at it from West Chester Street. I'm just trying to imagine what it would look like.
It looks like a lot of the other ones that I gave you pictures of up and down the street. Behind the other ones, oh, here, this'll help you. Here's the other ones on the street, on that side. I didn't even bother to take a picture on the other side, because every one of them on the other side has, a driveway.
Are you really aware that that back cottage is a separate property?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes. There are, actually, there are several of them on, Westchester that have this It used to be all one property and then they subdivided it. But there are several of them along Westchester. You don't have the full width of Westchester on the map on the front, but there's several of them with these strange little things in the back that were pre-55 and they're all subdivided now.
Could you just for my benefit, cause I know this street pretty well, but so you've got a curb cut, you've got the brick sidewalk, you've got the brick, and then you've got the stairs, wood retaining wall.
Yeah, how
And
come
then-
not brick?
Why isn't it like
Fine with me if you wanna go brick steps going up.
brick or stone? I mean, it might,
There's a combination of brick and, as you can see from the pictures of the property, there's brick and stone combinations all over the place. Most of it's
Yeah.
more rural, most of it's stone as opposed to brick.
I guess my main concern, Madam Chair,
Yes.
is that the material change, from brick, and maybe that retaining wall becomes a stone wall, rather than the wood stairwell. Maybe that could be a stone steps to tie in with your other, what's existing there. I think that would be more in keeping with Westchester.
So a stone wall and stone steps.
Yes, please.
Not brick? Brick is what's there now.
Well, it's only the brick wall, everything else is stone.
Well, I'm
Can't
just
we
thinking
keep
that
the
if it's a
stone
brick,
stairs?
if it's a
The
brick
stairs that you see in the
driveway.
picture are on the other
it'd be nice
lot.
to vary it.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
There are no stairs, any stone on this particular lot. The stone steps that you have a picture of are on the lot to the left.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not number 9, Westchester, so there really isn't any context on this lot yet until we start doing this.
Does this, the bigger lot,
Mhm.
do they have a driveway, or what happened to?
On the other side.
It's on the other side, okay, I just can't see it. And this driveway of this guy's is going to be?
Yeah.
What?
One car,
One car, but is it brick or
yes,
brick?
like
Okay,
all the ones on that side are brick, except for the one down at number 3.
okay. So Abby, what, have you got anything else you'd like to add?
No, I like the play of brick and stone rather than brick and, wood. I just would prefer to see, maybe there isn't a precedence, but I don't think there's a precedence of like wood either.
So do
I
you want a
think-
wood retaining wall?
No.
and
No,
a
not-
wood
not a-
stairs?
Not a wood retaining wall, a stone retaining wall and stone stairs.
Okay, so that is one thing. Val,
There are, Abby, at the very last picture that I gave you in that packet, you'll see the brick steps that are down the road from
Yeah,
it.
that looks terrible.
Yeah, I never liked that.
I think you can do it without that flat.
All right, so stone wall and stone steps.
I just have a question about the driveway, why it's wide and then it punches in sort of, like, that's not giving you another parking space, so does it need to be that wide?
Probably not. I think it's where the existing fence is. He can go run a straight line, I expect. Run it straight back?
I
I'm
think
just,
there's existing retaining wall there, I think.
Yeah.
where it says fence?
On the right-hand side where the jog is,
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
there's
some, it's like a
existing fence
retainage.
and brick driveways.
well then maybe it should come in the other way, just to make it not as wide.
Yeah.
I think they want to stay away from the neighbor's fence and the neighbor's retaining wall, frankly. I don't think they
Well,
want to
which
park right up
neighbor?
against the one to the right.
All right, so I'm just suggesting it be a little less wide somehow.
Like here,
Okay.
what about bringing it down right here?
That's what I just said, but
Yeah.
she said that's a retaining wall there or something.
I know, but
Although
she's
you
gonna-
could leave it and just,
Right.
We don't have to brick that area,
right,
so just take the brick out of the right side.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
The Vesper,
Jesse,
Yeah, Jesse.
I like the stone versus the wood wall. And the other London plane tree is going to remain.
Yeah. And the ones behind it are gonna remain.
And maybe if you just did more of a, instead of just making a straight cutoff, doing more of a
Curve.
sweep curve for the cutoff
I
for
was
the
thinking
driveway.
that too.
There's no room to curve it, where the sweep is at the street level. You don't usually get the sweep at the driveway level if it's beyond the brick sidewalk. We don't ever sweep those.
Are
We
you
sweep it
making-
at the street level because you're required
Yeah, I
to.
was just trying to give you a little more space there.
That's all right, I'll figure it out
Are
from
you,
there.
sorry, did you say you're doing new curb cuts rather than the ones indicated on the drawing? Are they gonna be
There is no
wider?
curb cut there now. I have to go to the selectmen and I have to go to the DPW to get a curb cut at all.
And you'll make them wider, like your,
Yeah, they have to flare,
your proposed?
so you can
Okay.
get in them. With the stone that they would make us use.
Steve,
Yep, okay, so I think it would be appropriate on the right-hand side to taper, as I think has been said, that, that kind of a block rectangular portion, taper it from the existing vegetation to 0 on a curve. I also believe that it's a single parking space. I think it'd be more appropriate if it was no more than 12 feet wide.
Very difficult to get into when you're bracketed by walls. That's why it's 15, so you can actually open the door.
I mean,
So they're normally 15. I mean, I can drop it to 14 if necessary, but any less than 14 is gonna cause a problem, trying to
Okay.
get in and out of it.
so my
And the rest
point,
of them on the street are much
may
more.
I finish, please?
Yeah.
Required, the minimum parking size required is 10 by 20. The Stop and Shop is 9 by 20. I think 12 feet wide is appropriate with respect to the amount of brick that's on Westchester Street, if it's a single parking space. There's nothing that says that it has to be fenced right up to the sides of the driveway. So if there's plant material there or low-growing plant material to either side, it's not an issue. They're not gonna be banging into a fence.
okay, is that it?
That's it.
Did you, it's hard to tell on the pictures that we have what the size is, but there looks like there are 2 or 3 driveways, 25 and I think 27, that look like they're single cars, but they look wider
Yeah.
than 9 or 10 feet, because if you have a Jeep type vehicle, which is wider, and you have to get out, and it just makes it easier. I think you were going for approximately 12 feet.
Yeah, I mean, look, a Jeep is 6 foot wide, 6
Right.
foot 7. So if you have a 10-foot parking space, you have room to get out, but we're not
Okay.
looking to be punitive, but at the same time, I think we need to be, my opinion is we need to be appropriate with respect to the amount of brick for a single parking space, which 12 feet is pretty generous.
Twice. the
Can I
feet.
comment on that one? Or do you want to go first?
No, I want to have the steps and the wall to be stone.
Okay,
And I like the reducing of the width at the jog of the driveway. We can leave the existing fence where it is, just put a flower bed in there or something.
Yep.
That is all, and, that is the existing side, stone steps will exist. So everybody has a thing, may I have some motion put together?
well, can I know what the width of the driveway is? We'd rather keep it at 15, or 14 minimum.
Okay, we have a thing of either 14 or 15
I can drop it to 14,
drive.
That'll be
I
easy.
still need a motion following.
Is that your motion, Linda?
yes.
Okay, my motion is that we we add a curvature planting bed on the right-hand side.
Yep.
We being the applicant with respect to the approval. The retainage and the steps would be stone.
Yep.
And the driveway would be no more than 12 feet wide.
Can I ask for 14 or a friendly?
I don't think that it's necessary. It's not, I mean,
Could you please repeat that for me?
through staff,
Yeah.
The area to the right of the driveway entering would be planted out, so there's no hard jog. The retaining wall and the steps would be stone, and the driveway would be no more than 12 feet wide. The bricked portion of the driveway would be no more than 12 feet wide, which gives you plenty of room to work with in terms of.
Okay, so that's a motion. Can I have all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any against?
I did an exhibit A.
All righty, that's good.
I've drawn all over this thing, so.
So subject to Exhibit A is my motion.
Well, I'm gonna give you a new plan, I'd rather do it through staff than not do it that way.
Thank you.
Those are
But
very hard
exhibit
to
A
do.
shows what we're approving.
Because I'm gonna give you a new plan.
Yeah.
Yes, yep, that's gonna be done.
Thank you very much.
And that was a unanimous,
That was unanimous.
Yeah, I was fine with it.
I'm here for the next one too.
All right, Mark Norris at 31 Pilgrim Road, an outdoor
Gotta
shower.
write this down.
I gave you new plans because it wasn't working. So I redid the drawings, redid the plan. It wasn't clear when John looked at it the first time whether it was visible or not. It's not visible unless you airlift in there because what the pictures that were previously shown didn't show a garage in front.
I could see it. I went to see it. You can see it
From where?
from the road.
What road?
I have pictures of it.
I have pictures in the plans for you, so just take a look.
I went up there.
Okay, on this.
Okay, and who is on this?
I don't know.
Yeah, this hasn't been opened yet.
So it's the full board.
Okay.
Abby, Val, Lee, Johnny, and
Oh,
I
I need
think
an
Jesse's
alternate?
up.
Jesse or TJ.
I'll be on it, sure.
Okay,
Okay,
so no room. All right, if you take a look at what I gave you, I took like 20 pictures up there, you'll have them in your packet. But you cannot see it.
I have a picture, darling.
John, are you sure we
Let me
did
see your
discuss this?
picture, because you cannot see it, I couldn't see it.
I remember discussion on that.
On the shower, there was
Yeah, this was opened, yeah.
This was open, just so there's not an issue later on for
Yeah.
Linda.
sorry, yeah, I was doing the minutes from the 11th and it was discussed.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what do we got?
We have Diane, Abby, Val, or John.
Sorry, TJ.
No, it's good.
That's a short one.
just
Okay.
the four of us.
Yep. If you go to these in your packets, Diane, Val, Abby, Jesse. Jesse?
I'm not on this one, no.
Oh, John, Val,
Just the
Abby, and
four.
Diane. Okay. All the pictures are in the back that I took today, and they're not terribly fleshed out yet. But, I took them from all the way down the road, from the road, and you cannot see it. Then I went into the lot and showed it to you. Then I went over to Paul Jones and took pictures up and down Paul Jones, and you cannot see it.
There's a new cedar tree in front of it or something.
Yeah, and what I did show you is what he showed me today. These all are getting planted right in front of the gate, behind the garage. Val, do you not have one?
I don't have one. What? Oh, here. No, that's all right. We can
No,
share.
I put four in here.
There's one over here.
Not that one.
No, no, it's not that.
If they're little
Yeah.
ones, though, they're-
There you go. Okay.
Throw stuff around.
So, sorry, can you clarify what the issue is that we get, that?
Just so you can't see it because it's
Because
horizontal.
it's
but is the-
huge
I mean,
It's horizontal.
okay, go ahead.
and it's
Yeah, that's
got
what
the
this is.
boards running sideways, which
Okay.
is an
You're doing the
anomaly.
horizontal
This
shower.
is not the one that had the shower on the second floor.
No, thank you. That would not be me.
It got picked up, then you can see it.
So I literally took pictures
Show me the
all the way
picture.
up.
Of the shower altogether.
You have it right there.
Yeah, I just wondered which one, whether it
I
was
got
that
in,
black.
I went into the lot where technically you don't have jurisdiction, but I took it because you can see it.
A piece of fence.
I don't know what that is. I just know that's where they're putting a fence, so they.
When
can
I
put-
went up there was
Is
a
that
tree,
the
they had just
shower?
planted a tree
So that you can't see
And
it?
that's a shower.
Well, it's
And it's
mitigated.
the setback.
And then they're replanting
None
all
of
the
these
stuff you
pictures
see
I
are
up
don't know,
against.
Dale said you can.
Then
I
it's-
don't know.
Is
I
this
wasn't on it, so I
staying?
don't know.
This,
I think they're gonna flush it out, obviously. They're just stuck it there for now.
I will
I don't know
say
why they're
this,
stuck
that
it for now. That's what's
I
getting
could
planted in
see
front
it,
of it.
but not hugely. We'll just put our caveat, if we can see it at time of inspection, they have to screen it more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's the screening, it's already up there, we just have to put it in there.
All right,
And,
can I,
and just, for the record, it's not a typical shower that we would approve,
Jesse
so
has to sign.
No, not if you can see it.
I would say,
So
it would-
can I have a motion?
can we talk, did we throw in
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
What's that?
It's,
Oh,
This is
it's
Westchester.
usable in a small area, all right?
right.
And I've never seen one that has horizontal boarding. It's starting to precedent very bad, it's gonna be asked.
we've
It
approved
would
it.
look like a boarded wall. And you turn them around, make them vertical.
It's not visible though.
You were there last Thursday.
Not visible, John. You gotta airlift in to get to it. It's not visible.
it is visible, but it's not hugely visible.
Hey, you're back up.
Do the
Can I see
screening
the
type
drawings?
out.
It is.
So-
Can I see?
Sorry, Madam Chair, just clarification, Stephen and TJ were at the meeting on Thursday, so either, they were alternates.
Yeah.
So either one of them.
All right, so then I would have TJ.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So TJ, what do you think?
Just give me a moment, I'm just
Okay.
looking at it again.
Sorry. I see what you're talking about, Johnny. We have John feeling that the board should be vertical, not horizontal. So,
If you can see it.
huh?
If you can see it.
If you could do, well, even, it'd be easier to do it than to find a button.
Were they built without a permit? Right here in the picture.
It's in the picture.
I don't know that they've,
All their permits are still open, so.
so that they can put it in and fix it without a fine.
I'll make a motion on this. That we change it to regular standard horizontal, vertical board.
Boards, and that the, vegetation will hide the shower and be in perpetuity.
I don't need vegetation if it goes back.
What?
I don't need any vegetation if it goes vertical. The reason why vegetation is necessary, because he's got horizontal board.
That was the only reason, they didn't want to see it, all right, then. That's the motion that's on the table.
I have more, and I'm asking John to look it up. It's built without a permit. And this is what we define on it.
It's not a fine because the building permits are not closed, still open. We don't find somebody while it's
I don't
still
wanna have to
open.
appeal this, that's what's
John?
gonna happen.
John did his final inspection and found this, so the permit's still
No.
up. Oh,
No,
you didn't?
he didn't. We've been in here,
Well, even if he did, if it was still open, it's still open.
yeah,
Oh, there
but
was no fine.
he
My
didn't find it
error.
on anything, because we didn't inspect it yet.
They're applying for it now, they're still building the house, so they're applying to add it on. So, yes, they have constructed it correctly, yeah, so you could obviously,
Thank you.
so, you know.
Are you
All right,
allowing
so
comments?
the reason for the problem is that the building is still open. It has not been closed, and the horizontal boards will be changed to vertical, so we don't need to worry about vegetation because you won't be able to see it. Is that not right?
That's
No,
correct, but
no,
I'd like it if you put it back on the view list again and have everybody go back up there and really get up there again, because you cannot see this thing, and if he plants it, you can't see it at
Well,
all.
we didn't put the planting in.
He can put it in. It's sitting there waiting to go in.
I know.
He just didn't want to do it until they actually regraded it.
So you want us to go back and view what?
View it from the road, both Paul Jones, you know, the one that comes from Delaney.
Yeah, I know.
And Pilgrim, and tell me if you can see it.
Okay.
There's a
and
house
what-
right up against it on the other lot as well. You cannot see this.
Okay,
That's why I gave you all the pictures from up and down the road.
Madam Chairman, for the benefit of the doubt, I'll withdraw my motion and remake it. That we view it first.
okay, so we'll do it for the next meeting, all right?
Is that for next week?
I think the view is changing by the minute.
So
Because next week's,
it will be old business, right?
Yeah.
So
Come into the office and stand it up.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of that.
I have a motion to view.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
okey dokey.
TJ?
All right, yeah.
Aye. Okay, that is
So I'll see you all next week.
thing. All right, so now we have,
I think that's it.
that's driving, that's Pilgrim Road, 11 New Mill Street, addition,
They're all
Joe. That,
Well, this is the one that's,
Who's on this one?
I'm on this one.
I don't think I'm on
The
this.
right side is on steroids.
You didn't speak.
I did.
this is the one.
Yeah, you did, I remember,
Is that lay person?
as a lay down person, yes.
This is
feel like we're in front of the principal.
Coombs, Camp,
22
Oliver,
yards.
McLaughlin, Welch, or Watterson.
Okay, Steve Welch, be on this one, all right? Okay.
It's a little early for that now.
Sorry.
What'd you do? Don't yawn.
She yawned.
That is,
The mob didn't, it's gotta start out, cry it out. The mob didn't cry it out for the early first application.
Yeah, you on it? Okay. Nice to have you open the drone.
So I did everything you asked. I lowered the ridge 9 inches. I reduced the height of the street-facing dormer, and I made it narrower. We had an issue with that. On the northeast elevation, I changed one window, made it smaller, and then put all, you can see everything's been squeezed in, made it a little lower. Perfect.
Joe,
Yes.
Your-
No.
your revisions are much appreciated, but what's still evident is that the addition's eave line is higher than the existing old house. And I think that's what made it sort of,
But I thought the last comment was that because it was on the backside, you really couldn't see it.
That
And it
might
was
have been
tucked around the back.
somebody's.
That was Diane's. And then it was, most concern was the side entry, so that's where I reduced that dormer. I had an issue with that, so I made that narrower and lower. I looked at trying to do a shed there, and it just looked awkward, so that's why I kept the gable.
you know, it's just me saying that. I think maybe you could carry the roof line of the porch so that it meets,
Bring this down,
Yes.
that, yeah.
and that would
Well,
hide.
you originally mentioned the salt box, and that looked really awkward because you couldn't get the right proportions. So that's why I brought everything down evenly,
What did you bring the addition down to?
9 inches. So before I had a 4'6" plate, and I brought it down 9 inches, so 3, 9.
Oh, that's just me.
no, well,
Everybody else
can
might
I
be
go
okay with it.
Yes, you may go.
after Val? Because I agree, when I block out that window, it looks subordinate to the, you know, the main massing, which is what we're trying to preserve. And I wonder,
So just
do you
let-
have to have a dormer there?
No, I was just letting light down and, you know, it's
Okay,
pouring
so-
down on the stairway, so
Let-
no, I can eliminate that.
Let me just finish, because I think the dormer is, like I said, it's taking away from the original historic. And then also having, as Val said, having that trim line go across at a different roof line, I think that also makes your eye move around instead of just sitting quietly, having that one trim come all the way across at the same line would quiet down that addition. So I would actually like to see that dormer go away.
I'm suggesting he takes this roof up and it meets that, so it's just roof.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, anything to quiet that whole thing down. The dormer, the roof lines.
So I kind of like the break.
Yeah,
I think removing the dormer would help. How about if I did that? I think that would.
could you also
Soften
bring
it.
that roof line to
I can
meet
go down
the?
a little bit more, but not too much. I would need that stairway to work on the second floor, so we're getting a little bit tight.
Okay, those are my comments, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Val, did you make yours a statement or just?
Yeah, that was the only thing, cause it's just that one elevation for me that seems,
What happened if you took that out and brought this whole
that's what I just
thing
asked
down
him.
to there?
That's what we were just talking about.
That's this,
If this roof line
right,
just came
okay,
down.
that's, I just, Stephen,
Yeah, okay, so Joe, I appreciate the changes, but I agree that this should be a secondary mast that's subordinate to the existing structure. As it is now, it reads almost like a townhouse setup. I do see, what you're trying to accomplish programmatically inside. What about shifting height down, whatever you can as it exists, but also, I think the only place you'd have a problem with is your second floor. What if this mast was actually lower, so it was a step down from the inside?
I'm wondering if I remove that dormer, bring down that second floor plate down about another 3 inches, and then change the roof pitch on the porch for a steeper angle.
For me, it's more that your fascia is above the main structure fascia. So that's where I'm trying to, look, I don't want to design at the table. You're obviously an accomplished designer. You can, that's
Yeah,
not the
it's,
point.
I mean, you guys are looking at it in one plane, but you gotta
Yeah.
remember that's back like
Yeah.
30 feet back, so.
True.
but it's still.
I'll get rid of the dormer. I hear you comment there and lower the roof line.
Johnny, have you got something you'd like to say?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm done, thank you. For now.
I only have one question, this thing here, SG&H windows are fixed awning.
They're fixed, but when you put in the code number, it's an awning. They'll be fixed, don't worry.
Doesn't show.
They won't be.
All right,
I will make revisions.
Joe,
I, the
come
great
here.
designer, to have you do this.
If you did this and got rid of the dormer, you don't have to change anything.
If you don't mind that look?
No, I don't mind that look. I like that look a lot
Can't see
better
it.
than,
I just think in 3D that's
where's the front?
Carry this down to eliminate that,
Right, so reverse cell box.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that,
Yeah, I thought you were just
That
talking
might
about
work
this
better.
plate. All right.
No, that whole plate down there gets rid of that.
So you don't have to even reduce the height of that.
and you might
Or
even be able
change anything, just,
I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about just this mass.
no.
Oh, all right.
and you might even be able to get away with a little shed dormer in that configuration.
Yeah,
That works.
Can we hold for revisions then?
minor.
Minor.
Okay,
Minor.
Thank you.
No problem, thank you.
All those in favor of
Aye.
voting for revision?
then-
Aye.
I have 2 more coming on.
Yes, you do. Where?
Further down. I'm gonna go watch my daughter's lacrosse game, so can I hold those next week?
Can we come with?
Yep,
Yeah.
Or,
Let's do it.
I'd rather do that.
you got,
Yes, I'll send you an email.
70 Orange Street, Joe?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank
May I have a motion to hold
Motion to hold
One
70
and two.
Orange Street.
on new
Yeah.
business? Okay, so the next one is
I love
Kingsley Lane, 7 Kingsley Lane.
huge rubber band.
It's a new dwelling.
I bet you get them at their pharmacy or.
Welcome, guys.
Hello.
What are you doing?
So many things you can
You're
do.
getting there.
Nice room.
Yeah. It's tough to look at plans down here.
The light's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lights there, there's none of them.
The chairs are more comfortable.
Chairs are great.
Only for you, Andrew.
Bring the chairs
Only
up.
for you. There you're coming.
Okay,
Sorry, John. I had an extra one, I didn't know.
I got a whole lot of option 3.
Was this already heard?
Yes, yeah.
11?
Who is
No, I'm
on
not
it?
on it, I don't think.
Maybe on
Hinkley
this.
Dinkley Lane?
Cause it got approved already, right?
Yeah, this is approved, this is a revision.
Right.
We're back for revision.
Coombs, McLaughlin, Camp, and Dutros.
Say that again?
Coombs, McLaughlin, Camp, and Dutros.
Can
Okay.
you say it again?
Coombs, McLaughlin, Camp, Dutros.
Anybody else?
And no other alternate?
Listen, you, I
That's
have
all
a
I
major
have from the
problem
paper.
with my ear.
There was no other alternate at the meeting?
Okay, so what?
Okay, so here's the thing. So we were here a while ago for this project, and we had had a long discussion. It's a fairly aggressive design approach, and we had had these stone gable ends on two of the masses. Remember, do you remember that?
I like that.
And we loved it too. And it just came back crazy, crazy expensive. So we're not doing it. So it's taken out of the project. Additionally, the board had said, well, you know, if the top of these peaks has some visibility, you need to come back. And the top of the peaks of the two larger masses actually are somewhat visible from Cliff Road and from Kimball Ave. You can see like the upper 1/4 of the roof line as you come by. So part of those stone gables would have been pretty
this
visible.
roof line.
Correct, Diane. So part of the stone gables would have been visible from those two streets. Again, I'm not so sure that would have been the end of the world. So we're here, what we want to do to sub out those two book-ended pieces is convert them to painted shiplap from the stone with parged chimneys. Not stone chimneys, parged natural chimneys with painted shiplap bookends. So we've shown
What
you
color would you paint them?
white,
The
painted white,
shiplap,
white painted shiplap on those bookends. So that's
otherwise known as clapboard, right?
not clapboard, Diane, it's flush.
Okay.
Clapboard with lap, the
Yeah.
shiplap is flush with a small gap in between it.
White and painted white.
And the chimneys are white as well?
No, gray.
Gray.
They're gray, parging.
With these little black tops?
Stone tops on them.
Stone, are, what color?
Like,
Like
yeah,
they-
it'll
they
actually
rendered
probably be
black.
a gray granite, so they won't be
Okay.
dark like that.
Okay.
They'll be a gray granite, because that's the stone we're using on some of the walls. So those are really the main changes we're here for. The rest of the project has no visibility whatsoever. And
The
we,
driveway's wide. I thought
it's,
it was
no,
a road.
it's gonna be way narrower, Val. Val, it's gonna be
We went
way,
up
way
there and I was
narrower.
like-
No, it looks terrible. It looks terrible, the driveway.
Tell me, even if you could see it from Kimball Ave,
Yes.
it's not inappropriate.
I don't think the gable ends being painted white are inappropriate. Every house around there has tons of white painted all over
Right.
them.
So I don't know that we need to worry about the small amount we can see, because it's a house.
Totally agree, Diane. Totally agree. We're just here to tell you what we're doing. Like, that's the
Well,
revision.
Why are
I
there
appreciate
three
that, I
options?
just, sometimes we get a little antsy about what's appropriate not, but this is a house and it's got two chimneys and it's
It's a one-story house.
one-story house, so I can't see. Anyway, Abby, you're on it, right?
Yeah, so why do we have three options in front
That
of
was in
us?
case you didn't like the white one. We were showing you what it would be if it was natural, but we really want to do the white.
Okay, because I think if you're reading from afar, I think the white is going to read pretty modern from wherever you see that peak. I think that the option number 2 with the shiplap in natural to weather could look very sleek up front, but read as a shingle from afar. So I want to hear what other board members have to say, but I like.
Okay, so you like shingle,
I think option,
Effect.
yeah, I'm just to cover,
all right,
myself.
Val,
I'm not on it.
Jesse, you're on it, right?
just,
Oh, did you see this?
Yeah, I think white would look really nice, although I think it sticks out more. The trim would stay white if you did the natural.
Yes.
And then what's that, like a Quaker gray on the
Great,
third
yeah,
one?
yeah. We really don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's sad. Here.
If you recuse, you should do
I'm okay with the first option. You know, you got the white trim on there. I think it'll stick out a little bit more with the white shiplap.
But there's a lot of white
It's,
around and
it's,
that's.
you know,
Think of it like
It
if
should
it's
be
white
recused
flat.
before you talk.
it's gonna look
Yeah.
better.
Is the shiplap, how wide is the shiplap
stick
compared to like a clapboard?
5-inch exposure, just like a.
Just like a
Is it like
clapboard would be.
6 inch or is it like,
It's like a
5.
5-inch.
From a distance, you would not really be able to tell that it was clapboard or shiplap.
here, this looks like traditional clapboard, but
It
on
does.
your options, it looks larger,
It's gonna be 5 inches, 5-inch
Yeah.
exposure.
5 inches.
Way in there.
Yep.
All right, Johnny?
Yes, I'm missing on something in some of these drawings, the way they're laid out. It's, let me go to this page here. This is A201.
John, remember it's 4 buildings together to make up the courtyard house, and you're only looking at one building right there in that application.
Right.
That's probably why you're thinking you're missing pieces.
I'm just saying it's just, the way it's constructed, and with mixed shit things in it, not all windows are the same, I agree. But the, on A201, bottom left, primary dwelling. What, is these garage doors or what are they? I don't know what these are.
You're seeing a little bit
They
of
don't
the
make
inside.
sense to me as part of architecture.
It's all in the courtyard that has no visibility, and the board approved everything.
Right in here, back to this.
Here, let's go to the site plan, John. So, this is a courtyard house, right? There are 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings. What is inside here has absolutely zero visibility possible from anywhere on the island. In fact, we felt none of it has visibility, but now we know we can see
He's
the
in there
upper
'cause he
25% of this
thinks
ridge, and we're gonna see the upper 25% of this ridge. Nothing else can be seen from anywhere on the island. And this was all approved already.
You didn't go to Neil Hill, did you?
We've gone around everywhere, and even now, we know we've, like, it's,
The Congregational Church spire?
we're trying to be better than that.
Up to 25% of the property is.
The upper 25% is absolutely visible, John. Yep.
Well, I can't say it's a lack of visibility. When the stakes went up first,
We couldn't see it when the stakes were up.
Right.
We all
It was
went.
white cloud.
You couldn't see the ridge poles when they were up. You couldn't.
I think I have a picture, but anyway.
But there's
Anyway.
nothing wrong with having a house in this area.
It's all gonna
White
be lack of
cloud
visibility,
on
right?
the roof?
No, on the,
On the wall,
I'm
on
going
the
to
sidewalk.
abstain before I take a vote. Well, saying.
okay, do I have a vote of some sort?
Well, I could try one. I think I would be in favor of option 2 with the natural to weather siding.
Okay, that's the natural to weather gable.
Yeah, and what else are you in here for? Something else?
That's really it.
There
On
was
all the
some-
buildings, there's just that and the chimney change and the stone coming off the other buildings.
I think we already did that though,
Window and
Yeah,
right?
there's no visibility on any of the other stuff. This is the big thing that came up in the last meeting. But I just want to say, Abby, we really would prefer the white. So, like,
He's saying you can see it.
I'm being honest. Yeah, Val, you can see it,
Take a right tippy
but I
top
don't
to the
think
gate.
seeing a little bit of white shiplap gable ends in a 1-story building in an area where everything is bulked out, huge 2-story homes, is something that's going to make or break.
Well, you wouldn't be here if you weren't nervous about it.
Well,
All right, I have one motion on the
have to
table,
come here, Val.
which is to approve with the gable being natural to weather and the chimneys being parched, as shown in the drawing.
Well, did everybody speak their piece on this? Because I don't want to be the only one saying something like that.
Well, I think everybody has spoken, so let me take a vote on that particular,
And Jesse's on this too, so.
yeah, didn't I get you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't mind the white. I
I
think
thought he
it's,
said he didn't mind the white,
yeah,
so,
yeah.
so the motion on the table is to approve with, natural to weather gable. All those in favor? All right, the next one is,
Well, I didn't hear any voices, so it doesn't sound like anyone voted.
Right, nobody voted, so
yeah, so you're-
no.
Okay.
And then the next one is to approve as submitted with the white, gable ends and the parched chimneys.
Which option would that one be, 1 or 2?
Option one,
That's what the application is for, though, too.
yeah,
All right, I'll go with option one. Aye.
aye. And then you're abstaining.
Yes, well, what was the vote on this? I didn't hear anybody say aye.
Well, I had an
Aye.
option out there, but I retract.
The first vote, we didn't say aye, the second vote, we did say aye, we just didn't say aye.
Number 8 was aye, right?
Yes,
That you should just done that, okay. Thank you.
Did that pass?
yes, I believe that is everybody except John who is abstaining.
Yep. So the next application is the guest house, which is the same change in the smaller structure. It's the same thing. Stone comes off, gable ends go to the white.
All right, there's no vote on number 7, right?
We're doing that right now.
No, we did vote on that. We passed it.
That's the new dwelling,
Okay.
we just passed that, now we're on the second dwelling.
You should look
I
at
need
it
to
before,
add-
just make a
just-
motion.
This is,
This
gotta sign
is
that.
the guest
Okay.
house.
You sound like I'm signing my life away on this. It better look good.
I have no doubt it's gonna look amazing.
No.
So Andrew, where are you gonna see these gable ends?
So these are this structure, right? So right now this is up, and you can see this. You can see the upper 25% of this from Cliff Road
Alright.
through the trees right now. When the trees are up, you'll see just the ridge poking through on it. So we're asking for the same change. That was also stone ridges.
Alright, so this is changing to instead of stone, it's changing to a white. with
Correct. With no
Shiplap.
chimneys. Yeah, with no chimneys. So
No
it's-
chimneys at all.
Yep.
So, John, do you have yours?
No, I'm abstaining.
Oh, he's abstaining already.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, I'm all with you, Jeff,
Motion to approve as submitted?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So there is 3 in favor and 1 abstention. And now we have got the garage and studio.
Writing down the last vein.
Is Steven on this one?
Oh, that was like
No.
cream soda
Where?
or something.
The one that was just heard?
Yeah.
No.
What about this one, which is the
Okay, so the
garage?
next two were never heard at the previous meeting.
Yeah,
So I think
So it's a
anybody
full
can
board.
sit on them.
I don't think you want me to sit on it if those are the same changes.
Well, these are the tiny one stories, a garage that you can't see
Yeah,
from
I'm
anywhere
gonna,
that we
I'm
just did a
gonna
chimney on.
recuse from it.
okay. So I got,
I'd
Abby,
like to say no.
Jesse,
We can say no, it's okay. Sorry,
Steven.
Andrew.
and John, and me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So this is the garage structure, which has absolutely no visibility from anywhere. And the changes, it used to be a slightly more elaborate structure where it had a big extension pergola coming off of it with an outdoor fireplace, and we've eliminated that. So it is now just, you can see the old elevations here show this whole pergola element coming off with a huge chimney on it and all of this. That's all gone. It's now just a simple one-story structure. That you can't
And
see
the
from
trellis
anywhere.
is gone?
Yeah, the whole, it had a whole
Yeah,
pergola element, huge coming off of it with this outdoor fireplace. It was,
Yeah.
had subtractive massing pieces to it and all of that kind of stuff, and that's gone now.
So, and the chimney's gone,
Yeah, it's gone.
and
The doors are what?
Natural doors.
Natural
all
weather,
natural.
okay.
Yeah. That's it. Much simpler than it was before.
And the shiplap on the NCR are natural weather as well.
Yeah.
You good with it? You good with it?
Yeah, and the shiplap on this building is natural to weather. It is not painted.
alrighty, thank you. Jesse,
just to keep us on it.
I'm fine with it.
Okay,
Yeah, it's just removing the pergola and fires.
Abby,
I'm okay with it too.
Johnny, are you abstaining?
I'm saying yes.
Steven?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
All right, and I'm okay with it. So that is the garage.
Is there a motion and a vote?
All those in favor of it,
I'll make a motion to approve.
through staff,
Yes,
Well, no,
yeah, well, as is.
as is. All right, the next one is the studio.
You just approved the house. Garage has the driveway. Sorry, I'm even sharing your paper. You got jelly beans, you want some more?
No, fine, thanks.
So the last one is another small one-story structure that has zero visibility. And the changes, two glazing changes. We removed a window in one of the gable ends, and we've adjusted the glass configuration of the entry door, which has no visibility. On the north and south elevations are the only change.
No.
So that on the north and south elevation, here we removed the window and the gable.
Okay.
And here we adjusted the glazing configuration just to have it transom, it doesn't now. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. This gable window's gone, and this used to have this transom window, and it's now gone in that. But you can't see it from anywhere. You can't see it from anywhere. You can't.
Is this a natural to weather one too?
Yeah, natural to weather as well.
And it's 21 or 22 feet. Oh,
21 feet 11.
wait. That's good.
22. Close to 22. Plus or minus the mulch.
Just what do you,
I'm okay.
SMI,
Abby
fine.
and Stephen?
Subject to lack of visibility. There you go.
All right, and that is a motion, and you're abstaining. So I have a motion to approve, following the lack of visibility desire.
I'll fold that for you, Diane.
Okay, thank you
All
all.
those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. All right, thank you. All right, next one is Brook Farm.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
What's the reason for being down here? Is there something else up there?
The police are having a fight.
Oh,
Fight night.
well, they didn't put that on the live video.
We're having our little fight down here.
That's video you'd wanna watch, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, it sounds interesting.
All righty, let me,
Shall I start? Or,
we'll start, let's get the drawing up.
oh,
See
your
who's
drawings
on
are
it.
good.
Active chairs.
Okay, I have Coombs, McLaughlin, Camp, Oliver, alternates Welch and Dutra.
Jess, you up?
Sure.
I think I am, yeah. Or was that 5 of us?
No, Ray was on it initially.
But I got 5.
There,
Jeff.
there are 4 original, and plus, I guess,
Jesse.
an alternate, yeah. Makes 5.
Tell us.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Chip Webster on behalf of the applicant. There were a number of suggestions at the last meeting by members of the board, all of which have been incorporated and all of which I think are definite improvements to the design. So I thank everyone for that. I will review those. The first one was the front door. We went back to what's already approved. So the door that is approved currently is what we went back to, which has side lights and so forth, so it has more of a sense of entry. I think that's a huge improvement. The second was removing the railing portion of the walkout of the second floor, such that it's just a plain shingled wall. So that's incorporated. The third was to break up what was a triple window on the first floor on the right-hand side. What we did is we not only broke up, we removed one of the windows. So we went from a triple unit to 2 individual units. And then we also did it on the upstairs as well at the dormer, so that we broke up both of those windows. Yeah, it looks a lot better this way. And then the last element is on the carport, incorporating that as a separate little element that then is connected back to the house. And I think that makes that look a lot better as well. You can compare it to what we had before. So that's what
It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
presented. Yeah.
Whoever
So
said
that-
that one was a good idea.
Yeah.
Little one over here
Yeah.
is a vacant. I mean, it's not a room.
It's a carport.
That's right, that's the carport, because the wife needs to be able to get close to the house and be protected to get out.
And
Right, I
before
remember
it
you
was
said
this
that, I just
long,
wondered.
Yeah, like a
It's
pediment
written
thing.
well.
I
Yeah.
like it, thank you, Chip.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
No, I'll
thank you
see.
guys, these were all your suggestions. Oh, and John, on the door and window schedule, the casement has explicitly spelled out non-operable.
Thank you, Chip.
There you go.
Right there on the door and window schedule.
Oh, I don't think he's gonna like that, because then he's not gonna have a comment.
Oh, Jesse's on. Johnny, are you ready to
Yeah.
begin?
Yes, I had a question on the HTC one page. Bottom structure, south elevation. And it shows at the second floor, in the middle, it shows a section piece in here on top of, on your decking, on your shingled wall there.
Yeah?
All right. Is it arched curved or?
It does, yes, it has an arch, correct.
That's real.
You think you should match
That's
the
real,
rest of them that are in there that?
Yeah.
I thought it was
rail.
nice, the other one that's in there is a box. So I thought it would be nice to have a little difference, so they weren't both boxes. So that was the
Everybody
logic.
wants something different, you know? That's my.
A little different.
Oh, maybe we should make it match, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll leave that, that's my comment on it.
All right, thank you.
I like the changes.
Jess?
Yeah, I like the changes to the north is the backside of property. correct?
that's right.
Yeah, no, I like them.
Val?
I'm good with it.
I'm good with it too, so can I get a motion?
Motion to approve as submitted.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'm checking out your checks.
Oh, thank you.
Nothing to do with
I know.
Thank you very kindly.
That's the best.
I'll just
Hey,
say,
actually, you're next.
What's that?
You're next.
Next, is
Yeah,
it
top
somewhere
of them.
between?
Top of them.
He
Just put the other
dropped
two on
off.
All right, I've got, hey.
This is 84
Yeah.
Poplar Road.
Yeah. Well, you gotta pass out the new
Who's
drawing.
the people who own the goats out there?
The goats?
Yeah,
I don't know.
somebody's renting goats
Okay.
and they're out of, looked like Poplar Road that they were on.
You can rent goats.
Kate,
Yeah.
Kate,
Maybe they're doing goat yoga.
They do that on the vineyard.
well, take,
Poison ivy.
people
use
rent
them to-
chickens too.
Poison ivy.
All the
They,
bad
Yeah,
stuff from
national
your
parks are using it.
yard. or
Yeah,
property.
good.
I know we use them in the south to get rid of kudzu.
But then you make yogurt.
They eat anything here.
Yeah.
You can,
Billy goat.
you can rent one or two or a herd.
On Nantucket.
Yes.
Instead of a lawnmower.
I didn't know that.
Then if you
I like that.
drink the goat's milk and
Seems
ate the
kinda
poison
creepy.
ivy,
Yeah.
you will become
Rent a
resistant
goat.
to poison ivy.
If they
If you
did
drill
all
it,
my kidneys, I'd
You
get-
making that up? Well, that might be a good lead-in. Okay, did you guys hear what Jesse just said? If you drink the milk of the goats and they've eaten poison ivy, you are resistant to poison ivy. Well, that is a perfect lead-in to the monkfish itch. Who knows what the monkfish itch is?
I know we're gonna find out.
Monkfish, I'd never got.
I'd like to share a short reading from Stories, Miscellaneous Memories, Episodes, and Bygone Characters of Old Nantucket by John McLaughlin. This is about the monkfish itch. Segues well from the poison ivy story. One day at one of the local club gatherings, there was a meal with friendship. The meal that was brought out to the 30 or so members was monkfish with all of the trimmings. One of the members is a fisherman from yesteryear to the present. One of them wasn't quite as old, and the old fisherman from the past 30 years went to the other fisherman and asked him what he thought about the monkfish for lunch. He said, well, what about the monkfish itch? So when the meal was over, the president asked the members if they had anything to say about the meeting. The young fisherman got up and said that the older fisherman had told him about the monkfish itch. And he relayed to the members that how when you ate monkfish, that within a half an hour you would start to itch all over your body. It was told that it strikes about 90% of those who eat monkfish. As the meeting progressed to the other areas, the two fishermen sat back and watched as others slowly started to scratch themselves here and there. They looked at each other and laughed. After the meeting, they got together and talked about how the psychology of the monkfish itch got to about 40 of the members. A good laugh was had by both. Okay.
That's good.
Now, meanwhile, so this is, you might remember this, this is the mid-century modern house at 84 Pacamo that was, we've already seen, and it was unanimously voted to be restored. As it turns out,
Was this used to be Anathan's?
yes, correct. So as it turns out, it's not in a condition to be restored. It's just not, it wasn't maintained well and it wasn't constructed right. So there's a proposal to rebuild it, basically as is. There's a couple of minor modifications. The most substantive one is, since it's going to be rebuilt, moving it further back from the bluff about, I think it's about 40 feet. So,
Me too.
Oh, so you're gonna demo it?
yeah.
But you're going to, you said you were going to do something like that.
But it's going to go demo and rebuild it identical to what it is.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's so
but at the same time, move it back from the bluff even further. So you might recall, the only visibility is from the middle of the harbor and it's of the roof. So another 40 feet back
That
is
is
going to
true. I've
be
been
even
in this
less.
house.
Who was the architect?
The original?
Yeah.
It was as best we can tell, it was a kit house.
Yeah,
So
like
it was
a
purchased
check
as a pre-assembled, prefabricated kit and put together. It's got some interesting things, but it's just not structurally sound, and it can't be brought up to current insulation requirements and so forth there. So, there we go.
Well, yeah.
Great that you
So
preserved it.
you're looking for. a
We're looking for
motion to demolish.
Demo or move, but I don't know where it would move to. And then rebuild it identically, but 40
The
feet
new
back.
dwelling is the rebuilding
That's correct.
it.
You're gonna rebuild it identically?
Identically with some minor modifications, like we rounded things to the nearest inch.
Yeah, yeah,
and so
yeah.
forth. And then there's, on the water side, a slight separation where there's, you'll see it in the drawings, where we want to add a little bit of wood. Right now, it's basically solid glass doors all the way across. So there's a room division on the inside. We want to separate those at that location.
So
This actually
one
was-
is for a demo.
Yeah, there's two applications.
Right.
One is for the demo,
Yeah.
and then one is for the rebuild.
So,
Sorry, Madam
want-
Chair, letter was submitted, I believe. Did I receive that?
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. It says, we learned from tonight's agenda that there is a demolition request for 84 Pacamo Road, Nantucket Preservation Trust. Respectfully ask that the commissioners to require the applicant present historic research regarding the house before the commissioners make a decision regarding the demolition. MPC believes it is important to fully document any building that may be demolished mid-century structures are part of the larger story of Nantucket's historical heritage, and NPT opposes the demolition of architecturally and historically significant house from this period. Since reading the agenda, I have done some preliminary research in attempts to determine the date of construction and architect of 84 Pocket Road. I believe the house was built between 1967 and 68 by owner Francis Thomas. I'll paste a certificate of title trail below. Thomas had a daughter that went to Rhode Island School of Design and was an artist, and Thomas bought the lot from Leslie Lane, an artist who owned the land in Pockewa and had his own house nearby since the early 1950s. Areas of the island that were once inhabited by artists and smaller experimental colleges are rapidly changing. Nantucket has regretfully already lost many examples of its mid-century architecture. She presented a certificate of title trial with Registry of Deeds Land Court. Monet Atherton at one time owned it and sold it to Carlton Neal and Nina Weissenberger. The FIC Associate Limited Partnership to Monet Atherton, Jeffrey Moore to First Investments, Irene Thomas to Jeffrey Moore, and Francis Thomas to Francis Thomas and Irene Thomas, all the buildings thereon. Leslie Lane to Francis Thomas, the land in that part of said Nantucket called Pockewa. And the letter is from Mary Bergman, who is at the Nantucket Preservation Organization. So she's done a shot down as to who owned it. Jeffrey Moore, I don't think, was thinking of living in it. He was interested in other things.
So a couple of comments. So we do have, of course, extremely accurate existing conditions drawings of it, which is what we generated to create the new drawings for the new structure. So it will be replicated, and we, interestingly enough, so they might not know that there was also an application to rebuild it as is. I'm not sure of that.
Sounds like.
But we have been working with the NPT on this because we're excited about, saving that piece of history as well. So, I don't know, they're saying that it's our intent to recreate it.
Well,
And also we do have exquisite documentation of the existing structure, photographs and measurements and so forth, which we can.
They don't have in, and maybe just in your research that you found that you think it was a kit house. It doesn't look like a Sears Roebuck kit house.
I can try and do some more research as well, but.
If you tear it down and move it, I, for one, would appreciate what information you did find to be recorded, because it does keep a history of what's been done and what's there. That's all.
Absolutely, and as you're saying that, I'm realizing I'll poke around in the house. Maybe there's something in the mechanical room or something that would.
I'll give a date or something.
Am I on this, Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I'd just like to make a couple comments. Number one is, I have no financial interest in the property, but this was my first client more than 30 years ago, Jim and Holly Anathan. My recollection was that the house was kit. Obviously, the CMUs were not, but that was a topic of the drainage solution, that it was a kit house on top of a concrete blocks. By virtue of the fact that this is being literally replicated, it's also, what is the elevation on the bluff there versus it's what, 50 feet up, 60 feet up?
You mean relative to the harbor?
Ocean level, yeah.
I don't know if it's 50 or 60, 40 something maybe?
40,
Yeah.
it's pretty high up. It's very difficult to see this property directly. I haven't been to it in quite some time, but it was scrub oak up the driveway. It's a kind of a meandering driveway. It's not a direct shot. But again, so by virtue of the fact that it would be replicated, I think it's appropriate. But I do think that any additional documentation that you can provide with the as-built drawings in digital form, not just for the paper file, but digital form would be appreciated, because that's something that can then be, eventually go to the NHA, and when the town goes to all digital, we'll have it ready to go.
So on that note, we just purchased something in our firm. It's a scanner.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, and are you familiar with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go in and it scans the room, and when it does it, it gets a completely accurate three-dimensional representation of the entire structure. And then you put that in the computer, and it rebuilds it exactly as it is. So
That's awesome.
it's pretty cool.
Ethan has too?
He has something like that. I think his is a little different,
Yeah.
but it's the same concept.
So you'll have that in forgive me if it's a DXF or whatever the file is, or a BIM, that would be nice to attach
Absolutely.
to the digital record.
Yeah.
Yeah, be delighted to.
I didn't know you had that machine, but that's.
Yeah.
It's a great
Yeah.
toy.
Yeah. Oh, we're big into the toys.
Very useful, but fun.
So I need to have a motion.
A motion, I agree with my fellow board members, and thank you for the information, because I agree with you and Diane and Steve, and I make a motion to approve.
Can we have discussion on the motion?
I don't know what that was.
It's a new phone, I had no idea.
It's howling at you.
Excuse me.
Was that a dinosaur?
It sounded like
Can we have
an
discussion on the motion?
Yes,
Okay, I just wanted to find out where, I didn't look at, the new dwelling is immediately following.
Yeah. They're back
That's
to
the only
back.
discussion I wanted to have, thank you.
Do you want to add to the motion about the digital documentation?
I want to add that to
yeah,
the
that all
motion.
should be
Blah,
in
blah,
there.
what he said.
Blada, 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 yes.
All that blah, blah, blah.
I had a comment.
Yes,
To the architect. This structure, if you go down almost to the end of the Parkman Road, is it on your right or left?
This one, if you go all the way to the end, is on the left. There's another one, the Mannix house, that is on the right, that is,
Yeah, the one on
It's a
the other
different
side. I thought Venturi done it, but he didn't.
oh, no, the Venturi houses are a few before that. Yeah.
Venturi done the grasshopper.
Is that the name of that?
Yeah, it's
Grasshopper?
double-sided, looks like a grasshopper with legs. Out there, Man, I'm just making a comment about
Okay.
what we got years ago.
Yeah.
It didn't get my vote, but anyways, yeah.
If any of you are out there, well, I'll let you finish the motions and then I'll.
all right,
So that's my motion.
all right, and all those in favor of the motion to demolish the house as submitted?
Aye.
Aye.
And just retrospective comment, I'd like to say that I appreciate the fact that MPT and Mary submitted those comments as she did, and I would agree with them.
Would you repeat the motion?
We're going to approve as submitted the demo of the house at 84 Pockable Road and the
What I have is
requirements.
what I wrote down after the discussion is motion to approve through staff with additional historic documentation and photos and drawings submitted in digital form.
Yes, paper and digital, but yes, digital is the key, I think. And the 3D
In
model.
the 3D, yeah.
Thank you for offering that up, that's just
Oh,
awesome.
absolutely, I can't wait to use the toy more.
Johnny, here's the slip for that house. All right, so now the next one is the new dwelling at
Yep.
84. And we'll carry the same board on for this house.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, thank you.
No,
So-
Stevens.
No, but I'm-
There's obviously, Chip Webster again.
Welcome, Chip.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be here. So the The only revision really is what I mentioned, where on the glass, the water facing side, there's the 2 rooms that have a wall between them, so we wanted to separate those running doors.
That's the west,
That's the west
and
elevation.
here's the break right here.
That's correct, yeah, I think it's bubble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I just have a question.
Yeah,
I'm a little
absolutely.
confused. It says previous HDC approval.
Well, the previous HDC approval was
Renovations of the existing
the
structure.
renovations of the existing house.
Oh,
And now
oh,
we got a demo to do.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So anyhow, and then on the non-water side, east side, changing the front door a little bit. This is actually a more appropriate mid-century modern door. It's a vertical slab door than the one that's there. And
What are the Bs?
the bees right now have an operable portion.
Okay.
And they want them to just be fixed.
They're glass,
They're glass, yeah.
fixed.
Chip, what are the colors and the finishes? Like, what's the front door?
The front door is white and all of the exterior, what do you call it? The siding is natural to weather and the doors and windows are matching the natural weather, like a gray. So the only non-natural color or whatever is the front door, which is white.
And the decking is,
It's all natural.
yeah.
And the,
The deck got a little bigger too.
this,
Little bit, yeah. And it wasn't on a even module. Yeah.
the railing,
Yeah, railing is cable, which is existing, matching existing.
okay, that's all, I just want that.
Yeah.
So,
And then there's a photo that John shot, you can see too, that as it sits now, from the water, you just see the roof.
Yeah.
And it's going back 40 feet further back, so,
you won't be able to see it because of the pits from when you're standing in the harbor of.
exactly.
This is
Steve,
for
would
the
you like to
second building
begin?
you wanna destroy, or what?
This
Yes.
is replacing it with the matching building. Destroy, that's a
The
strong
one
word.
you just got a permit to take down,
Yeah.
this is gonna take its place?
Yeah.
Yes,
It's a
It's
replica.
replicating it. The one that's there is not suitable for,
With those roofs? I'm just
that's
asking
what it's got, man.
Not
It's,
on both of them,
Yeah.
that roof,
Yeah, that little wing thing,
Yeah.
that's existing, absolutely.
here,
Yeah.
what do you doing with this one?
So this is, okay, there's the building that's there now
Yeah,
that can't be restored is gonna be removed and replicated. And so we're matching, the existing roofs that are on there. They have the little wing things, or whatever they call them.
oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
I have a comment.
okay, I asked Steve to make his comment.
Okay, so, I have no concerns with this. I would like to, however, suggest or request that, there would be a set of drawings, again, given the kind of mid-century, the uniqueness of the structure. A set of final approved drawings that would indicate in a note panel any of the modifications relative to the existing structure, such that we would have a existing, the as-built drawing, and then we would have a set of drawings that would show what's replacing it and any of the changes, just for the file.
Yeah.
And again, then digitally.
Okay. Happy to do that.
Okay, John, you're,
Yeah, we have one policy with a kick in on this, that would be that the 50% glass or whatever on the fenestration of the four walls, no more than 50% other than siding material. That's been a long time, one of the old policies we have. And
Yeah, but-
this is the
but
rest-
obviously not since, I said, obviously this building was built before that.
Right.
And it's being replicated exactly as it stands now. So we can't change, if you change the glass in the west elevation, you would be changing the building, which is not what we are proposing to do.
Right, okay, but my question on it was, trying to understand it, put it that way. Yeah. I hope it doesn't turn into a Peking Chinese restaurant.
It could. It might be a Frankfurt.
I
Hot
think we
dog
should
stand.
wait for pictures and then view it.
A little
Ourselves
sushi.
individually.
But,
Well, we had
John, we
pictures.
just,
We have, anyway,
photos?
that's fine.
Yeah.
That is a suggestion.
okay.
I've seen the property up close.
Abby?
I've worked there for
I'm
years.
all in favor of this, 100%.
Val,
I'm fine
That's
with
what
it.
Chip represents.
may I have a motion
Motion to approve as submitted.
as submitted? I
Subject
have a
to
motion
some-
on the table that to be approved as submitted,
With the documentation.
Yeah, so,
with all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
can you get all that stuff, Terry?
Okay,
I'd second
So all
all
the-
that stuff.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Diane, I had another comment, thank you.
What's
I
that?
had another question
Yes, sir.
to the architect. Everything I see right here is existing out there.
Everything is replicating what's existing there, with a couple of minor modifications which have been delineated.
There are no changes made to this structure as it sits out there.
No, that's not,
Like, you see this right here?
Right.
Right now, it's all glass. So we want to, there's a wall in the inside here, so we want to separate that and add that.
point out
The
to
deck-
them
What's
a
that?
little picture.
Yeah. John, this is the replication.
Right.
This is existing. This is gonna be demoed
And then replicate.
to be replicated because this structure is not, as Chip has represented, something that can just be moved.
Built there.
No, this-
Correct, well, but for, yeah.
Yeah, further off the block. Further off the block.
Okay, so we have the motion on the floor and I believe it has been approved as 3-1, at least. Steve, did you,
Yeah, I'm good with it. I
that's
think it's
4,
appropriate.
and Johnny, are you abstaining or denying?
I'm abstaining,
And we have 1 abstention and 4 for.
even with the new changes.
Okay, man.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thanks,
good evening.
Chip.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Chip.
We
thanks.
appreciate the extra work on that.
Absolutely.
It's
I
important.
think it will,
I think I've stolen it from you a couple.
I never realized it was out there, and I wanted them.
That's possible.
Yeah, I've been in it.
You never, it's so buried in there.
I actually might have some drawings.
Is that why I never saw it?
Yeah, it's really, it's
Because I
deep
was
in
the
there.
mailman out there.
They could use a tribe of goats to get rid of the poison ivy.
Oh, all right.
Wow.
Well, I can find you those.
And then drink the milk,
And then you can drink the milk.
and then eat the fish and scratch yourself to death.
Yeah, you don't scratch from the ivy, you scratch from the milk bit.
Here's your thing to sign.
Thank you.
Where do we get a copy of that book?
I have one that's signed by the author.
What?
I think I know where there are some in a basement somewhere.
Do you have any more?
I don't know, I'll have to take a look.
Yeah, have a look.
They sold out, I'll tell you that.
Well, you
Maybe
should
you should
re-copyright
reprint
it. I mean,
Lisa occasionally reads some of the stories at the, to her second grade class.
Oh, cool.
That's cute.
This is 230 Milestone.
We tried to get John to come in and do it.
Yeah,
The kids asked.
230.
230 Milestone Road.
That's way back there.
It is, ground so well.
You know.
Hello, hello, hello.
So who's
At
on
least
this?
that's what he's worried about.
You, if we,
I think TJ.
TJ's not been on it.
Yeah, I'll be on it.
TJ's up.
all right, TJ, who, what's the board, John?
It's new.
We're all new.
All right, so I got 1, 2,
Biz.
3, 4, 5. So it's the regular board. So tell us what your story is.
So this is for Mitch and Ellie Coffin. They have over 25 acres of land that goes way back. It's a ground mount solar. It will be 950 feet from the Sconset Road. And it's also tucked into a little dip in front of their house near the greenhouses. So there's photos there. You might see the top of it if you had binoculars, but it's so far back, I can't imagine. Also, this land is under 61A. It's registered with the state as farm, and they do farm it.
Right. That's Mitch's.
Right.
Right.
He already has solar panels.
Yeah,
He's got a few on the little sheds.
Yeah, how did those get passed? Because those are right on Milestone
Didn't
Road.
apply for
Well, this
that.
is a
Well,
while-
I know
it's
that,
a
but I'm
while
just
ago.
bringing it up.
It's a while ago. Those,
Yeah,
they've been there
it's
for
a
while.
shame because they look really,
Take them down if you give them the panels.
yeah, we'll make us,
It's on a different lot,
Is it?
actually, yeah. Yeah, that's it, like a 7-acre lot next to the 25 acres that their house is on.
those are pretty hideous. But I'm in favor of this, if anybody's
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
Yep.
Okay,
Motion to approve.
yeah, there you
All
go.
right, that was easy, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
The next one is 42 Marianne Drive. It's somebody with a fence.
it's
It's
not just
south.
anybody.
It's Ben.
My friend Nico, he had his first baby last week, so he needs a
Hello.
representative for his fence. So here I am.
So he needs a
I
fence.
thought you were gonna say so the baby doesn't escape.
No,
I'm
so,
like,
some of
oh.
the dogs next door don't escape into the yard, that's what the problem is.
This next to where you live.
No.
No, I live great.
Did that go all the way down to TJ?
Good. TJ. TJ.
All right,
Was TJ on it?
yeah, I was on it.
Oh, this is at the
No,
corner
this
of
one.
Marianne and Hinsdale.
Hinsdale, yep.
Okay.
The fence is on, not on the corner side, the house is on the corner side. So this is his kind of backyard.
Yeah, so see, it's like here and here.
Right. Huh.
Where, and it will tie into the house?
Yeah, right there, there's gonna be a little gate,
No.
I guess, right there.
What
in the
about
corner.
back here?
Where's that?
He's gonna have split rail and Leland on one of those.
Where's it?
There's the gate.
Oh, I didn't, okay.
You got a split rail fence, or you gonna put anything behind the fence?
No, he's really trying to keep the neighbor's dogs out of his property on the back side. They're
Gotcha.
not, so this is more keeping neighbors.
So he's
out.
not so worried about the Marianne Drive
No.
section.
God. Like, dogs are great, but you shouldn't be afraid of them. Anyway, I'm okay with this,
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Johnny, have you got a question? That's what the fence is gonna look like, and it's gonna go,
What's the length of this fence, each section?
Each section, they're 8-foot sections. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Those 8-foot sections that are 8 feet long,
Seven
always
and a half.
trips John up.
Oh.
okay. So, may I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All those in favor? Aye.
All right.
Aye. Thank you.
Whoa, when did this happen?
The next one is Brooke.
Congratulations.
Welcome, Brooke.
You guys got a date
How you
yet?
doing?
Great, how are you?
We're getting
This
there.
July. I don't know.
18 or 22 or both or all.
That's exciting.
We should be having a party.
Yeah.
I'm on this.
Johnny.
I think it's
How are
your
you?
turn.
Steve-O's up.
Oh, there's a trifecta of artists.
I know, I couldn't believe it.
We're gonna go with the primary.
The primaries?
There is also a set of plans in that pile that shows them as they all relate to each other too, that I think should be included.
And
It's-
with Steve or TJ on that.
It's in the pile that I submitted, this, that, I think it's the bottom two.
Yeah, no, they're in there.
Do we have a board on this?
It's new business,
All right, so we got 1, 2,
Do we open these?
4. Who was on the last one? Jesse?
That would be me, yeah, I'm the next alternate.
At 3 West Way, okay?
Everybody got their plans?
Uh,
I think I'm on
Nantucket
the next
says that they have, excuse me, that it's non-contributing and they have no concerns.
There's not a
this for a
building
demo?
there.
Is this for a demo?
Could you make the locust map any smaller?
Let's see. It's on Westway, it's a new building. This is the primary structures on the back part of the lot. Right there.
What is this?
Hang on a second. Okay, this is just relative size. Abby's got the,
Plans?
hang on a second here. These are the plans. I don't know what's going on here, and John has a plan, and TJ has a plan. You guys actually have two of these, so, here, TJ, this is a relative.
Thank you. Is this one of your sets of plans?
Yes, that is also one of the septic plans.
How did they overcome the septic issue on this? Cause
It's a 3-bedroom septic, and each building has 1 bedroom contributing to the septic system. So.
Are there Nantucket things?
they said it's not contributing,
They
but
said
that's
it's not,
kind
they
of
have no,
They have no concerns.
weird.
no concerns.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not, I have no problem with
It's
this.
a 19-foot building.
There's people around you that are huge, I mean, compared to this.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a real Nantucket cottage.
I'm good with it.
Jess,
Yeah, lovely.
alrighty.
Look forward to seeing
You,
you.
Val, you're okay?
Yeah?
Okay, three,
So is that just one floor?
yeah, are you
Guess so.
got a problem with it?
I had a question, what is this configuration here?
Oh, that's, okay, so that's this building right here. Right here.
What are the colors, John?
This building, is this?
No, none of these, this is all new stuff.
Black
That's
sat,
this
black
building right
doors.
here. That's that building behind,
Wood roof.
and then this is this building.
Oh, wood
What
roof?
is this siding?
Yeah.
This is, board and batten. But we're not looking at this building yet, but, and this is a standing seam roof. Standing seam?
We're not on that one
We're
yet.
not on this one, we're talking about
Oh.
that building.
Not doing that one yet.
Forget it.
So this is the one that we're looking at.
Okay, so may I have a motion for the first house that we looked at?
Motion to approve is submitted.
All those in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye. Johnny, what do you say?
I'm not on it.
What?
Said I'm not on it.
You refused?
Why are you not on it?
Yeah, you're on it.
He said I wasn't on it.
No, he said you're not doing this building yet. This building,
We're not,
We're not reviewing this one.
the metal, you asked about the roof, you're not reviewing that building yet.
We're reviewing this building.
Wait a minute.
This, okay, look,
Go ahead, you explain this to me.
here, wait.
You're
this is-
on it.
This building
Yeah.
is this building,
The one in the back, yep.
and this is what you're reviewing. You're not reviewing this one.
Yeah, I'm just looking at these, you know?
Yeah, so do you have comments?
These,
Yeah.
on the screen, right?
Yep.
Hold on a second. The number 2 windows, awning,
Yes,
right?
yes, can't see them. They're right up against a house. They're right up against, Bearway's house.
Here.
Photo?
There's a. See that building?
You said this is
There.
the,
This one is what you're reviewing.
right?
The windows are on this side.
Where's?
I think we're getting a
That's an on front, right here.
migraine.
Can it be subject to lack of visibility?
I heard that.
Well, yes, but.
Okay, I shoot. Fine, thank you.
Okay, do you have any questions you'd like to ask? You're all set. So I have a motion to approve as submitted the number 1, first one of Westway, a new dwelling. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Johnny, are you aye or
Yes,
no?
yes.
Aye. Alrighty, thank you. So the next one is a
This one
new
is
second
the
new
metal.
dwelling.
I think the next one. He said.
Oh, we got a new one?
He said, here, hold it.
Good, you can, just put it up there if we need to
Is this the
look
one
at it,
coming up?
it'll be right there.
That's exactly. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's just a profile of the overall site.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, this is,
So this is the one you're gonna do next.
Here,
Uh,
Johnny, you're gonna sign that.
That's metal and that's wood.
We're gonna look at,
You're gonna look at this one first.
this one's the next one, this one's coming up right now.
this and this.
This one,
This one, you just did this, you're gonna do this, and then this.
then this is number 3.
Well,
That's
you
this
need a
one.
projector, or maybe
Okay,
you'll
we're doing
try a
this.
jelly bean,
This one.
see how far you get with that.
Hold on a second, you're camper.
We don't have any anyway.
We got the one, well, actually, we got the coffee one left.
Really, I've had enough coffee.
No, it's not.
Maybe it's a coffee bean.
Heavy metal.
It's corrugated
It's
metal.
confusing enough as it is.
Right there, you're signing it. That one you just voted on. TJ wasn't on that.
This is the second
Okay.
dwelling, and they have no concerns, and it's non-contributing.
Where's this one located, cited?
Forward on the lot.
Send it.
So that's
What
the
made you throw in the, little
transom bay.
transom one, yeah, transom bay, what got into you? You were doing so well.
It's on the back, it faces
Oh, it's
back.
the back.
They wanted
Okay,
a
so
picture
this is-
window.
So this is front.
That's the front.
No, 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 no.
Why do you have
That's
to
okay.
put the
It's this one.
thingamabobs?
Yeah, but it's not highlighted.
Here, now it is.
You know, there are a lot of bays,
Where is
you
the-
remember back in the,
the
you know,
one?
some of the older ones just have like picture windows.
Can't believe you tore it.
No gobbledygook.
Street glass.
I might suggest it and see where it goes.
Yeah,
You do enough of that.
trying to stylize it a
We
little
already
bit,
approved that.
Yeah.
but I don't have a strong.
Which is closest to the street, and that's what
How do you feel
faces
though,
the
Abby?
road. That faces the other house. And this faces,
South, that faces.
which has the most open
All single story, huh?
vista, and that's
All
the
single
other
story.
side.
This building's 15 foot,
This is great.
smaller
And
than
the
a
east
shed.
side is not visible,
The east side is not visible, correct.
so they won't see that picture window.
won't
But
see
they
that.
want the picture window facing that way.
Cause they have a yard, nice
And
yard.
they have a little yard in the middle there, they're gonna put in a
Flowers.
garden, and it's,
Do I have any, statements, Val?
I'm fine with this.
Abby?
I'd rather see the picture window, just a plain, one large window with no transoms or broken. You know, there are a lot of them out there that are just simple, old-fashioned picture windows from the 40s. I
Jess?
think they're fine.
I'm fine, I mean, it's on the back, so you can't see it.
John?
Johnny?
Yes. There are seven windows here. Number one windows says they're awnings. And I question if
They
anybody
are.
says they're not visible.
they are visible, they are awnings, and that's,
Huh?
they are visible and they are awnings, and they are also black,
They're also
black color, so you're not gonna see them. If you go by, we'll close them.
Are they fixed?
No, they're awnings. I'm not gonna play that game. They are awnings, we want awnings.
Okay.
Alright, I don't wanna lie to you, John.
Most of the commission in the past 2 years have voted to change windows that they're fixed and they're not, that they should be either hoppers or fixed. I think they should be changed.
Alright, well, let's see what the commission says.
My opinion, I think the commission should go along with the policy.
Okay. if everybody has said what they need to say, can I have a motion?
A motion to approve as submitted.
Okay, I have a motion on the table to approve as submitted. All those in favor of that?
Aye.
Do you want to address John's casement or awning window?
I don't care.
Okay,
forgot to throw double hungs as an option.
okay.
So-
Just checking.
Well, I
So,
don't have
motion's
that.
on the table to approve as submitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so that's
Opposed.
4-1.
It's not up to you, it's up to the commission.
I know, I understand, John.
No problem.
The next one is the studio.
I understand what's happening.
You want to tell us what you,
The studio is a, I think, even lower height. I wanna say it's around 14 foot tall. It's a one-story building. It has board and batten siding, natural to weather, and it has a corrugated, or not corrugated, it has a standing seam roof that is charcoal gray.
which is the rib roof? This one?
Yes,
Okay.
yep, standing seam.
The third building, I have a thing on. It says north elevation should not be barn board, out of context.
gotta
East
have it.
elevation, nothing barn board out in Fisher's Landing. West elevation should be shingled like the other two buildings. So Nantucket did have that to say.
And I did go out there and that was my concern.
Yeah,
It would be an anomaly.
Wood
And,
steel.
you will see this, cause it's not behind any of the other buildings. And I just have one question.
Yes.
Why is the Bilco on the front and not in the back? Just
Be-
curiosity.
Because the elevation goes up a couple of feet.
Gotcha.
And we couldn't get into the basement
Okay,
by doing that. It's a cedar board door, so it's not gonna
Yeah.
be a,
I'm okay with the building itself, I just think the materials should change.
how about the standing seam?
Yeah, no,
Okay, even though we're trying to make this an actual studio.
yeah,
and look like
no,
a separate
there's none
structure.
out
Okay.
there at all
Okay.
in that area.
Jesse?
I'm sorry, I do not, I understand the material, so
There's, standing seam like a metal roof with.
oh, a metal roof,
And this is the.
But it's charcoal gray, it's not a,
metal roof, and then it's just, board and batten.
yep,
I'm okay with the board and batten, but what are the materials for the other roofs?
Asphalt,
They're all,
right?
no, you said wood.
no, they're wood. I think I have them as yellow cedar,
I think at
which turns gray, by the way, as opposed to dark.
times is that one of the, I can't think of any building that has the ribbed metal roof that isn't an actual barn.
Yeah.
Just for your history. Abby, what?
I guess, yeah, I don't think, I think it's a stretch to do the, standing seam roof, but, I'm not sure about the board and batten sides for a studio. I mean, if you wanna give it a little bit, I see what, I see where you're going with this. I think I understand the style you're going for. So I would be okay with the board and batten siding, but, not the seam roof.
Yeah, but a wood roof instead.
Yeah.
There's none out there.
Wood roof?
No board and batten,
No board and batten?
just saying.
Johnny?
No comment.
So, I have said, I think that the materials sort of do not conform to the area that it's in. Fisher's Landing is a conglomeration of of all sorts of houses, but not many quirky houses, I think.
This is Fisher's Landing?
Yeah.
It's not, this isn't in the historic.
No, this is out,
Oh.
this is at Fisher's Landing, it doesn't.
So, I mean,
It's wide open, the site.
It is
So you're
visible.
gonna see this, it's not hidden behind another building.
okay.
I would motion to approve changing the sidewall to match the house and cottage and the roof to be wood.
Okay, there is Val's motion, and I have all those in favor.
Well, how about this? Can we hear Abby's motion, and if it fails, then we can go to Val's motion?
No, Val did her motion first. So I have Val's motion on the floor, which is changing to shingles and a wood roof. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jess?
That's gonna tie it up. I mean, I honestly like the board and batten so much. I understand Val's concern about it not being out there. I'll just go with the board on it and say aye.
Donnie?
I'm voting no.
Okay, so we got four.
To changing it to shingle?
I'm sorry?
I'm changing it to shingle.
They changed it.
The roof and the sidewall.
The roof is going to be wood
I'm voting in
and,
favor of that.
all right. So we have everybody in favor of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
You should have asked for double hungs.
I heard you say that too.
I know.
TJ, can you do, 3 Cheval Pond?
I don't think Mark Coutone is here.
And I think I'm up next, Madam Chair.
Oh, okay, I thought that he was, I'm sorry.
What about Steve
I thought I was up
and
next
Luke
too. I guess not.
You get the motion to hold for
Yeah.
representation.
Yes, we need a motion to hold for representation.
Motion to hold 10 through 13 for representation.
Aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And now we need to have,
Hold on a second. I'll go last. Everybody that's here can go ahead of me here.
okay. I got Sophie,
They're gonna hold these.
Motion to hold 14 and 15 till the end.
Three Shimel.
10, 11,
Anybody
10
that
through
gets to
13
sleep,
hold.
I,
10 through 13 hold for representation.
I wish I could do that.
I know.
13.
so great.
Although I'd
He's
probably
going to the end.
be very embarrassed, I'd probably like snore or something.
So,
Or
just
yell
so it's
something
clear,
out.
Terry, now we're on 16,
All right, these three.
right?
yes.
No,
Luke,
17.
69 South Shore Road?
Luke is here.
I know.
Yeah.
Sophie, sit down.
Oh,
No, well, he
I was calling.
You're next.
That's why she came.
All right, here we go.
You little line jumper, you.
Shit, no. Well, it's a really long story. I know. I didn't want to wake you.
She didn't want to wake you up, so she was calling Sophie.
I would have been, oh, Luke was napping. Good for you, man. It's good you can do that in a public place.
You wouldn't have been able to do that 5 years ago on this one. Just saying.
All right, what have you got for us to see?
We're on,
Okay.
So this is a new garage studio, a
These
garage
are down
apartment
here.
for
So we're
the
on
very
this
end of South Shore Road. A lot on the right hand side.
yes.
Are those the sewer pits?
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to find the neighborhood.
The non-smelly one.
All right, there you go. So,
I'm not on that one. You are.
this is garage apartment attached to 69, which is a barn.
It's not attached.
It's not.
It's an independent structure.
Oh,
The
okay.
existing house, that's an existing house that's there?
Yeah.
He's just showing us the house. What it's
No,
behind.
I'm good with this, Madam Chair, if you're interested.
You are good with this?
Yes.
With Abby.
Alrighty. And, you are good with it?
See,
Alright, and
Luke, question for you. These, balusters, they look like they're more than 4 inches apart. Is that
They
just
will
a
be
drafty thing?
They will be 4 inches.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I just wanna make, well, we can approve it subject to that.
John, do you wanna see what the house looks like?
What is that? Oh. Nice. I got invited to that today. And someone told me this game set.
so you're all set.
Yeah, and I'll address the balusters in a motion if you want.
I
John's.
need to get John first.
I can see.
Smile, smile, thank you.
It's one of the new requirements at the HTC hearings, that all the applicants smile.
Very appropriate to smile.
South elevation faces the water, right?
Yeah.
Faces down
Yeah.
towards the sewer bed.
So John, you good? John, are you good?
No, I have a question.
Okay,
Okay,
we're waiting.
You got a picture of a garage here. Is this a garage?
it's a.
That's the house.
That's the house
the
that's
house, okay.
there, and it's a barny house.
Okay, the other comment I got is the deck is 10 feet out, not 8.
Oh, where does it stick out?
It's above a structure, however, correct?
What?
Is it above a structure?
What happens when it's above
Oh, okay.
a structure?
Well, it's part of, it's not a freestanding deck.
Right.
It's not a second floor freestanding deck.
Oh,
I
yeah,
always
yeah, yeah.
thought too, it was
It's not
freestanding.
freestanding. It should be included in the roof.
Yeah, no, that's why I asked you. It's included in the roof?
Take off 2 feet, make it typical to the policies.
If it's required, yeah. I mean, my thought was that it's pretty low visibility back there, but it's it's an upside down house, so they wanna.
Yeah, they wanna use it.
Occupy that area a little bit more.
Is that the east elevation?
Yeah, and
John, I thought that Madam Chair, through you, I thought that the illustration in the guidebook was a freestanding second-story deck no more than 8 feet from the structure.
No way it says freestanding. Yeah, I can recall it. But
You
anyway,
mean held up with
Posts.
posts?
if we're gonna rewrite the guidebook, you better do it quick, because we're blowing everything, all the old stuff out.
You might want to look at the guidebook again, Mr. McLaughlin. So I'll make a motion to approve submitted subject to, through staff, subject to the balusters being changed to 4-inch on center code.
It's actually noted on the drawings. as
Is
much
it?
as on
Okay,
there.
so that's fine.
So.
So just so
the
it's noted
motion
for the,
is
when John does
Approved
it.
as submitted, right?
Yes.
All those in favor of the
Really
motion
excited.
approved as submitted?
Aye.
Aye. There you go.
Okay.
Johnny, though.
I voted yes.
You voted yes.
Might as well, give them what they want.
Is this my piece of paper?
Where's your guidebook?
All right, the next one is,
I just had.
Sophie.
Sophie.
That's what I can probably do.
That's right, 'cause she's under there herself. Sorry.
Oops.
Here,
What do we got?
Okay, Sophia, what are you going to tell us?
So this is my house, which is 34 Nantucket, and this, we've had an open certificate occupancy for a really long time,
You said
because
it's
obviously it's
freestanding.
hard to work on your own house, and so most of this is just cleaning up some stuff. So you guys will see it's just a bunch of little like fussy things that we either screwed up or, yeah. Or just did really fast drawings.
Yeah, it'll be.
This
I know, so many people trying to keep up with
It's warmer down here.
if it's not part of the structure.
Oh, yeah, but on those drawings.
Only if it's sticking out from the structure.
And all the work's, it's already done, basically.
Well, so the questions that we have for you, so, I had originally, if you guys can see, there were these little roofs that were coming off here, but, we had our friend shingle it, and it was like breakneck speed, and we couldn't just a couple of times, so they just shingled it without those little roofs.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping that it sort of looks okay without them, so we're wondering if it's okay if you guys omit those. It would be okay to not have to put them on now.
No.
Okay, thank you. And then these brackets back, so we have OG shaped rafter tails, and I remember Linda Williams originally, I had wanted these curved brackets.
Right.
And Linda wouldn't pass the house unless they were straight, and so I was just like, okay, we'll take them straight, so we never put the brackets on. Cause in my mind, if you have OG rafter tails, you should have OG brackets versus knife cut rafter tails go with.
But she's not here.
Right, so I was hoping, I usually
Yeah.
I could ask her.
But she's listening.
I know!
So we want to do the arch
Yes,
bracket.
slightly curved ones versus
You know
the
who's gonna have one on that?
Yeah, but not
It's
all
just
of us feel
in
that way.
keeping with the rafter tail,
Sorry,
the tails themselves.
Yeah,
And then,
me too.
yeah, so we wrote in red, trying to show you guys what the ranges are. It was because that's keeping that roof off. And then we also didn't need all, we made the deck, well, we haven't actually built the deck, we're asking you guys if we can make the deck on the back smaller and change
Smaller.
it.
Wow, of course.
And these
Where's the
raft tail,
The rafter tails, they're what this, they have like a scallop and then
yeah, but they're here, they're across here.
No, that's a pergola.
that's a.
Oh, that's the pergola.
He's talking about these little.
Yeah, I know. And we changed this to 2 windows.
Sorry, it's confusing.
Has it, have
I'm ready.
gone up at all? Are you under construction?
Yeah, so we didn't build the deck or the pergola or anything on the back, but the house looks like that, just with
So we're
everything
down
that's
to
not
the-
open.
the
So we're,
little-
I think we have to explain it too.
Madam Chair, I'm fine with these minor
changes.
I am as well,
Changers.
but
All
I
right.
think John will have a
Me-
question.
Looks good.
Steve,
I'm not on this.
All good.
If I was, I know what I would say.
Johnny,
My only comment would be, we're asking for these arch supports on the porch. And that's on one side, the back side, the house comes 45.
oh no, you guys originally approved them as, this is how they're approved straight. I'm asking if they could be curved.
she's
But these are
asking
both the front.
for
You
them
want
to
change
be,
it to arch?
Yeah, we actually don't have them at all right now, but I have the approval for them to be straight, but I'm asking if they can be curved or arched.
I like them better curved.
I do too, I think they go with the house.
So that-
The rafter tails are a little arched also, so the brackets would sort of follow along.
Where's your
These
pea
already
shooter?
have the rafter tails have the OG.
No, it's all right.
On
I'm
a
not-
new source of Brexit.
Oh,
On those windy days,
yeah, sure.
this goes down.
And then John pointed out when we turned this in that that the existing door that has never changed, it's on the short side, it has lights, it has those little like baby lights in the top.
Oh,
There.
that's what you want?
Well, it's the old door, we didn't change the door,
Okay.
so I just drew it incorrectly.
All right,
Can I have that like as part of it?
you need to have that specified outside, so we
I
can
will.
Make
specify out of motion.
Is she okay with it? Can I
Good.
make a motion?
on though.
Yeah, those are putting on, that's coming off.
He's not gonna be for it, so make one.
Motion
You good?
to approve as submitted with the exception of the door that's existing being drawn in correctly
Through staff.
through
For
staff.
staff. All those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Any opposed to the motion? Great.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I heard a rumor that if we keep an eye on the time, we might get out of here at 8 o'clock tonight.
Don't think.
Jesus, are you
You just-
crazy?
You know what, I've been wanting to say that all
Did
night
you-
long.
I'm gonna say it.
Don't-
You know what?
Is there any other business here?
Don't say things like
Are we
that.
discussing the wind project on Martha's
Doug?
Vineyard?
Score there.
Doug?
Very quickly.
Oh, wow.
Doug,
Time expands to fit the task.
Yeah, well, we don't wanna be long-winded about it.
oh. We have 3 sleeping circles.
3 sleep wing
Jesse's turn?
circles.
Say that 5 times fast.
Boom. Yes,
5.
I think so.
No,
All right,
can't say it once.
why don't you tell us what you need?
This is client's request for a material change from cedar trim to painted laurel trim.
We can't do this
What's
because
it
we
called?
don't have a policy on it right now.
I was told to make an application last week at the meeting. I've made the
And
application.
I said the same thing last week.
Can I be on this one, please, Jeff?
Go ahead, take it. Yes, take it, of course.
This is about the wood, right?
Correct.
All
This is
right,
about the
right
trim.
now, we will not make a motion because we have not decided whether that wood ages the way that real wood age. And is it something that we can accept everywhere, or should it be area specific, or what? So that he just has to wait, it's on our list of things to do, and it takes some time.
Madam Chairman?
Yeah.
Listen, I asked that question last week.
Well, I wasn't chairman last week, so you didn't get told.
Mr. Pohl, who was chairman last week, told me to go ahead and make the application.
Well, I'm telling you that you cannot at this time, unfortunately. Not that we don't
Madam
want-
Chair, point of order.
Yes,
I don't think we can deny an application without discussing it, which is what we're doing by telling the applicant they can't submit an
I
application.
didn't say, I did not deny it. I can put off an application to the point where we have a role to act from.
I protest.
All right,
That's for the record.
then you say
How
whatever
can
you.
we vote on this when we are ourselves
We don't have a
not
policy.
having a policy?
This is, my position is that this is an application and we address it.
Have we not allowed that on, outside of the OHD? The, what is it, the
No,
Boreal?
We've gone round and round about this.
Okay, I
No, on
think,
the,
excuse me, everyone. I have the floor and I'd like to make my point.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for keeping order. I believe the application in front of us, and we should discuss it on the relative merits. That's my point. Thank you.
Fine. So, Abby,
Well,
I say motion to hold until we, as a board, make a decision on using synthetic product. Because it's gonna open the door
to everything.
to everything, and we haven't established a policy yet. I'm not saying deny it, I'm saying hold it.
Abby, what?
well, I'm wondering if, I mean, I understand why you would wanna use it, but I wonder if it's not something you could use in like a, not residential, but in a commercial use, in an area that had like architecture,
The
you know. So I think sleet wing circle, I think is, you know, it's Sconset, it's Low Beach Road, and it's going to be seen. So I want to say the right thing. I don't want to do the wrong thing, so I don't.
I was told that the company did come and make a presentation to you guys. John has a sample of it in his office, and this was discussed previously already at one time.
And it has been on the agenda, I've asked for it to be on the agenda and for some reason, we keep skipping over it, but we do need to discuss it.
Madam Chair, if we're taking comments, I'd like to make comments.
John?
Yes, my question, where is anything highlighted? It says for trim material.
Which
correct,
is
John.
not wood.
This is a trim material that is a synthetic trim material.
Right.
It's made from recycled coal ash.
What do you think?
It's made from recycled coal ash, 75% pressed board, which is then painted. When it's painted, you can't tell the difference between cedar and the painted trim board.
It's not a wood material?
It is not a wood material. It is a synthetic material pressed from coal ash and other fibers to stabilize the wood. It's like MDF. It's a very similar product to MDF. When you paint MDF, you can't tell it's MDF unless you touch it. Same thing.
If this material is used in the house, it's all the same color, right?
It's all the same color. It's all Nantucket gray.
You can get different colors, but they're all the
No, it's all the trim. It's be the rakes, the fascias, the window trim.
It's paintable.
It's painted. It'd be painted in Nantucket gray.
something new.
Yeah, which we need to discuss.
Outside the old HTC, something new, it's nice. I think, hey, I don't know, I'm looking at it, but.
It is not in the historic district of Scottsdale. It is outside of the historic district
So
of
it's coming,
Scottsdale.
right? We gotta do all.
But we need to discuss it.
Can we
before-
please, because this is getting a little out of hand.
Why is it?
Because we're having repeated comments by members without every member speaking, Madam
This
Chair.
member is speaking and you are next.
Yes,
Okay, but he hasn't finished speaking yet.
correct.
Johnny, if you're finished, it's Steve's turn.
Well, there's nothing much you can say. It's a new type of material. Do we want to accept it or don't we?
That's what we're trying to say, is we should hold it until we can talk about it.
Well, we can discuss it. If you've been submitted, it's an application.
Well, we're trying to talk about it, but I'm not sure that we have enough time today to look into it. I've never seen the sample that's at John's office, for one. I don't know what it looks like when it's 10 years old. I'm talking to Johnny, can I just finish, please?
This is borderline ridiculous, I'm sorry.
I know how I feel.
All right,
In
Steve.
conjunction to it, it's an open application right now. My comment is, we should hold it, get some material and more representation.
Thank you.
That's what we should.
May I make, Madam
Steve.
Chairperson, may I make a suggestion?
I'd
Yeah.
like to
No,
please
I
speak.
want to hear from Steve.
Okay, go ahead,
Getting
Steve. Yeah.
at the end of my rope with this. I believe that we should have a sample presented to us to review. We should have a sample painted the color you are proposing for the application. It should be of significant length or sufficient length that we can view it from a distance to determine what it looks like. And we may even ask to have a section or three put up at the structure so we can view it from the street.
Right, currently there is no structure, but.
There's not an existing
There's
structure
no
on the
existing-
lot
No,
anywhere?
it's an empty lot.
So I would like to see a sample of at least 6 feet in length, painted to the trim color. And I would like to see an unpainted sample.
Sure.
That's what I would like to see.
Okay.
We can do that.
I would like, in the list of information, to have us give an age that it lasts until, whether it will last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And I don't know whether they've done any of the testing, but I would like to see what it looks like 10 years from now.
The lead testing is in the packet that I presented to you. So you just need to read it.
Read the one.
Right.
And we can continue this next week.
Okay, if you can get any more packets, it would be good that we could take them, or John could get the packet and take them, each one could have one to sit and read it and come up with,
It was submitted to John via PDF last week.
okay,
Okay.
well,
There's that handout.
Right.
there,
Yeah.
So I can-
so the motion at the moment is to hold, right at the moment for further information and for viewing of the sample that is to be at least 6 feet long. And, the trim on the house that you're considering it for is gray, right?
Yes,
Okay, so this would be the gray that the house was calling for.
correct.
Okay, so I think that would cover everything and give us a chance to read what the material is actually like and what it looks like, because we have not seen it. We didn't mean to bash you over the head, but we have to get together and see what it is.
We're all good on this. I'll have you give you the sample, and we can continue.
Okay, and you'll bring it in with you?
I'll bring it in.
All right, and
Okay.
if you get it there early, then
I'll bring it to John if I get it early.
John could bring it
Yeah.
maybe to a previous meeting, just so we see the material. It's important
Yeah.
because of our concerns of what might happen.
You got it.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
John, will you,
Understanding.
will you send the PDF? to
Yep.
everyone?
Thanks, guys.
Who made the motion?
Madam Chair did.
Okay, you made the motion.
I'm not making the motion.
Well, John made the motion, then Johnny made the
Well-
motion to hold for further information.
Well, we, you know,
We're moving them down now.
we, I think as a board, all of us should talk about it, and we should talk about how we feel about it, because
Well, we started this discussion at our organizational meeting and we ran out of time and it's just gotten tabled.
is it possible that we could do that on a Thursday so that, you know, Ray would be here and we would agree as a board?
I've
how
been
we
asking for us to talk about
Can
it.
we,
feel about that, so we
John,
don't have
can
to.
we put this on a Thursday?
We'll raise
Yeah,
away
within
for
the-
2 weeks.
But he's gonna be gone for 2 weeks.
Well, well, I know, and we just told him that, but, I mean, I would feel more, that I could make a,
I think it's a good step in the right direction, what Steve asked for.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just would say that I don't think we should be discussing it in a kind of a theoretical discussion. We should look at the samples,
Yeah.
because that's gonna make a big difference. This is a like wood material. This is not a PVC foam cellular material. And the reason I point that out is because if we don't know what it is, it's hard to have a discussion on it. So I just suggest we.
Right, that's why I was hoping he could get it early to us, but that'd be a good thing. So
well,
if I could
it's,
have a
that's,
motion just to,
it's not really my point. My point is that I know what the material is, and I've used it before, and I've worked with it before, but I want to know how the board feels about it.
oh,
I want to know, I don't want to be, you know, I don't think I think we should,
well, I would
Make-
like to hear from you when we review it, if you've worked with it. I don't think anybody else has.
it's extremely uniform. It does not change, it will not rot and mildew like
Actually,
the.
that's not true. I have worked with it. This is a soft material. It's softer than pine trim. It will age, it will patina, it will look like wood. If you pick it up and touch it, which is why I believe we need to be viewing a sample, you will understand that it is like wood. This is not a PVC foam or an AZAC material that is a rigid, hard material. This is like wood. If you run your finger down it, it's like a piece of paper. You will literally see the crease in the surface. It's like a piece of pine.
But it doesn't break the surface.
Yes, it will.
It will.
It will. So
And-
I don't disagree with Abby. I think that the board should make a decision as a whole, but I think that you require a sample to do that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
But we don't have everybody here. Ray's gone for 2 weeks.
But Ray is not here for 2 weeks, and he's not sitting on this application.
we can look at it. We're not an unintelligent board of
I know.
who's sitting here.
Everyone else is here except for him.
So if I could have a motion to hold until we receive the products requested, and he will have them here within the week, then we could proceed with talking about the material. So all those in favor of the chairman's motion, who she can do.
Aye.
Aye. All right, then it passes. And
And
we
you
will do
oppose?
that, and thank you,
Well,
Steve,
I'm
for
not
making that clear, because I think it's important when something of this importance gets introduced, that we know everything we can about it. So that is it. The last thing is, the staircase on the American Legion. Are you there?
I'm here.
You're very patient.
And then we gotta go back to Mark and TJ. So
Is,
we will be here till 9.
is Mark here? Oh.
Sure, I'm not.
Jinxed
I
us.
called Diane because we were down.
Will you join us over here?
Hashtag says,
Where you going?
more detailed elevation. Steel stairs have different look than drawings portray. Single run stairs has less busy. Single run stair is less busy. We prefer metal to wood, like sample photo.
That is the proposed, is metal.
I'm just telling you what is written here.
They prefer wood to metal or metal to wood?
It looks like they prefer metal to wood. We prefer metal to wood.
I think they wrote that wrong.
For the record, my name is Doug Seaholm. I'm here representing the American Legion.
Welcome,
Doug.
Thank you.
I'm a member of the post, I'm a member of the American Legion.
I understand that. I'm just looking at you because I don't think you'll make any money off them.
It probably would be prudent if you recused. And I have to move away from that, taking the minutes, because I'm an officer and signed the application.
All right, we take his
Madam Chair.
recusing.
Who was actually sitting on this? Which alternates?
I sat on the last one.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
What about TJ?
I'm on this.
You're on this.
Okay, Jesse and TJ.
Can there be two alternates?
No, we only need one
We only need one.
alternate.
No, you need
John recused.
You need.
Oh,
Oh,
sure.
John's
John is
recused.
recused.
All right, so both alternates on. All right,
Diana, I'd like to just make one statement.
Come over here.
Go to the public.
Go to the front, make 10 word question.
You're recused. You gotta.
Okay, I'll speak. I just want to mention that Terry is a past commander, which is a very highlighted position to have with the Legion, and she does a very good job. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad to
Get
hear
noted
that.
somewhere.
I have a letter from the Nantucket Preservation Trust. It says, thank you for contacting us about your request to the Community Preservation Committee to reallocate masonry repair funds for the installation of a new fire escape at the building. Since this work is planned for the exterior of the building, MPT supports your request for the reallocation of grant funds. However, we ask that the project be reviewed following the normal procedures outlined in the preservation restriction, now pending but in its final stage. We suggest that you submit a copy of the HDC application, which will be required for the product, to the MPT for our review and board approval. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Sincerely, Michael May. So, we are down to the requirements of the MPT, which I know a little bit about. So, what you got? We have drawings of the stairs. These are replacing the actual stairs where they are now.
Yes, they're replacing the existing stairs in the same footprint. The only thing that I've done different is because it was 15 steps from ground to platform.
To the second.
So I shrank the size of the deck back 3 feet so that I could have a 3-foot platform for comfort to better accommodate people who can't do 15 steps in a row. Because by mass building code, you're not supposed to have 15 steps in a row.
Right.
You're allowed to have 13.
I thought it
So
was 7, so you're down fine and you've got the platform in
Yep,
and it's going up to the second floor.
to the same
and
level.
And it's metal or wood?
What we proposed is hot dip galvanized, which is, in the beginning, when it's brand new, it's silver. But in the environment, it turns gray, like everything else that's hot dip.
Is that what they
galvanized.
did the High Line ramp out of, or?
No, the new Highline ramp
That's aluminum,
is
right?
actually aluminum.
Yeah, okay.
But
So-
hot dip galvanized, it takes a year or two, but it becomes Nantucket gray.
Okay. So, Jess,
So, just curiosity, why are you choosing metal? It's just because of fire escape or cost or?
It's a second means of egress for the second floor of the American Legion. 9 years ago, I think it was 9 years ago, we replaced what was there, but per International Building Code, which Massachusetts adopted, you're not allowed to use pressure treated anymore. You have to use fireproof lumber. Fireproof lumber is not rot proof. So we spent $16,000 building a fireproof wooden structure. And it is now right on the edge of not being safe for anyone to walk on.
okay, and the HACCP
And,
favors the metal one anyway.
and so then my next question is you have a metal fire, you're showing an example of a metal fire escape on the Mason
Lodge, yeah.
you know, the lodge building, and that looks like that's painted in black. Would that-
Because that was never hot dip. That was just a metal fire escape.
And
so that has to be maintained.
It has to be maintained.
Oh.
You not knowing, I mean, I think about it's just weathered galvanized, basically, you were talking about? It was hot dipped galvanized?
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
a place that we can look at it? Because that's the only concern I have too.
Me too.
I mean, looking at it, the Mason building and looking at the contrast that it would have with the Washington Street building, the black might look nice. But I don't want to add more work to. It's got to be maintained. Is that your concern?
I think
that's, If we still move forward, because we want to move forward with a hot dip galvanization for the longevity of the staircase.
Right.
We could have it coated, but over time, and who knows if it's 5, 10, 50 years from now.
Yeah.
Whatever powder coat or paint's put on there is
But
going to.
you could paint a black hot dip galvanized if you wanted to.
After you go through a process of compromising the hot dip galvy,
just painting
so that the paint will stick.
Is there any other building around that has a hot dip? Steve, you might know. Is there any other building around that's got hot dips galvanized?
Only, there's some town stuff, right? No, the water tower's painted.
What
That's
about
the-
out in Arrowhead and all those?
Hotel.
I have a
hotel?
location.
Do you, where's that?
Oh,
The backside of the Whaling Museum.
all right, let's go have a look.
Well, and with that said, I thought somebody needed to look at it and
It
give
does
their
get pretty dark.
their opinion.
I don't really have a concern. I'm just,
Right.
these are just questions.
No, I agree with
You know,
Jesse. I like the black, but that's gonna be upkeep, so.
Yeah, I'm not, I mean, these are just questions and I'm not trying to, say that it has to be black by any means. I'm
Doug,
just-
would they not look like the galvanized downspouts that people use once they weather? It's like the same thing, it just grays out a
It
little
would be
bit.
exactly the same as a galvanized downspout over time. When you put them up, they're ta-da.
I
And
wouldn't
then-
mind just looking at the one you said.
Yeah, I'll make a
Obviously, it was
motion to
approved on the
view,
Whaling.
motion to view the one at the backside of the Whaling Museum.
Yes.
Would you mind if we?
No, not at all. So if you walk in between the backside of Oranmore, Oranmore and 4 Whalers Lane, which is also our property, you can walk right through there.
That little alleyway.
That is a means of egress off the second floor of the candle factory.
Do you mind if we take a peek before we make a
No,
move on
not a
this?
problem.
Okay.
So if, John, can we put this on for next week?
Sure, absolutely.
All right.
Motion to hold for a view
We'll
of
hold
these
review.
stairs.
We'll revisit
Sample.
it on Tuesday.
This next Tuesday.
Yes.
Thank you very
So
much,
you
Madam
only
Chair.
have to wait a week. Thank you.
Do you want all this stuff?
All in
Sure.
favor of a view? Aye.
Aye.
Something in there belongs to,
Yeah.
there's something in there belongs to county.
No, it's this stuff.
All right, then we have 3 Sherwood Pond.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Free to format it properly.
We're on,
Where's the other view?
well, we've got Mark's, and then we've got, TJ's. I'm not sure what the manager. Oh, Mark's here now, so. No.
Okay, you have your, what, do we have a board on this?
New
business.
All new.
Should be.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's, you were just,
I think TJ's, who was on the last one?
We both were.
You and
You
TJ?
both.
But I would have been.
Because John recused.
I would have been next, and TJ would have filled John's spot.
Are you saying you want this one?
No, I'm saying it's yours, right? No, I was.
Oh, you were next, and then TJ, and then TJ's out, so I'll take it.
all right,
Because TJ's gonna be.
he's gonna be up for 2 right away.
Saying.
So the changes are, Mark Catone for the applicant, by the way. The changes are in summary on 8.2.1 and 8.2. We've shown the previously approved elevations and the proposed and clouded in red, the changes. At the top of the page, basically it's on the west elevation, removal of the window. There'll be an outdoor shower proposed, matched to the weather. On the south elevation, they had a 6-panel front door. Since it's south facing, they're trying to get some glass in that door, so they've come back to ask if they could do a 4-light door, single panel, to match the side door that's been approved. And on the north elevation, there'd be the outdoor shower added to the deck, and they've added a window to the shed dormer at the rear. Again, north elevation.
All right. Steve,
Actually, Madam Chair, may I ask, can TJ do these, because I'm gonna be sitting on his.
okay. Then TJ,
Let me take a quick look, come back to me if you could.
all right? Abby.
All right. So on the west elevation, I kind of missed that window that was there because there's a lot of wall. So I sort of missed that on the west elevation, that one window on the second floor. And I kind of feel the same way about the previous approved of the front door. I think this really does look like a side door now. So I kind of like the one you did originally. And I have no comments on, I'm fine with the additional B window on the north elevation. Thank you.
All right, Val.
I agree with Abby. I don't necessarily mind the omission of the window on the west per se, but the front door I think is a disconnect from the 6/6 windows.
All righty, that's it?
The rest of the stuff is fine.
Johnny?
Yeah, is there an application to change the front door?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's it.
is that it?
That's it.
Okay, TJ?
I'm fine with everything, but I do agree with Val and Abby about the front door and in saying that there's a disconnect between the 6/6 and that being sort of a side door configuration.
Okay.
Right, I agree also, the other thing that I think about is the windows up in the shed dormer on the north elevation. Is there any way of having them be stretched out so you don't have the particular fenestration that you've got?
Well, it matches the previous, all they've done is add that one B unit. It's also in the back, I don't think it'll be visible, even coming down Shingle Pond Road, due to the fenestration. The trees that you can see in the photos are still in place and will remain in place. I think they were just trying to add a window to, an additional window to the master bedroom, essentially, for more light.
Do I
Should I
have a
make
motion?
Here's a motion to keep the previous front door, I think it's called a 6-panel, and I'm okay with the other changes.
Thank you.
That's my motion.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? So that is a 6-panel door that will be put on the front. And the next thing is a new shed.
Correct.
Don't people ever put like storm doors and then just leave the thing open?
That's exactly what we're doing. They didn't want the door in the way.
Johnny, will you sign that and then hand it down to TJ?
That'll be fine.
This is the same board.
I'm bored.
Same board, yeah.
Simple shed, colors to match the main house, gray trim, gray, the large doors are gray to match the trim. The side door is black to match the house, and the window sash would be black to match the house
Yeah.
as well.
Very nice.
Is it, you can't see it from Shoal Farm?
I don't think you will, it's tucked in, you
In
can see from
behind
the
it.
site plan, yeah, behind the trees, it's tight to the house.
I think it's
Nice.
appropriate anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it says matches.
TJ,
Yeah, I think it's fine.
all right, Johnny? You like it?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve when
Well,
ready.
John's still looking.
Yeah, no, I don't wanna rush him.
He's folding it up.
Alrighty then, motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The next one is
like
the
Latin.
pool. There you go. Thank you. This is the same place you've always had it, right?
I don't know that I've shown you the pool before, Diane. So this is obviously at the back of the house.
Is it a fenceless pool?
There is a fence proposed in the vegetation, so all this vegetation on the site plan will remain. It's all those pines that buffer the yard from Schimmel Pond Road that they want to keep. We are showing a type 2 picket natural weather in the few spots where it would connect to the house. You can see a little bit of that, and then it would transition to a split rail and wire as it makes its way around into the woods itself.
Into the vegetation?
Yeah, correct.
By the shed,
Yes,
could you have it goes, because it just goes across to the deck,
that's correct.
so
Yeah,
you
return.
can't, okay.
So we did where it kind of meets around the buildings, we're doing the type 2. And then where it meets the vegetation, we can transition to a split rail with wire. It is, however, I will say though, it's they are doing an auto cover on this, so it's the fence is technically not required. They're putting the fence in more for a dog.
So I think
management.
it's safer,
Yeah,
even though it's a thing.
correct.
I think the insurance would be lower too.
I'm in favor of the application.
Okay, and
I'm fine.
Johnny is in favor, TJ?
Is the type 2 natural weather?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah, I'm in favor.
Okay, all those
Aye.
in favor say aye.
Motion to
Any-
approve.
Any against?
Aye.
You're against the pool? You're against the pool, so,
I'm for the pool.
okay. So, the last thing is, the gym,
Yes.
Different
Different property.
location.
different
Okay.
property.
All right, good.
Downstairs.
Thought they were gonna put in a big
262
Get your hair in the thumping.
Copenhagen.
Okay, so I think I'm on this one since it's a different.
There it is.
It's not. Jeez.
So this is a 65-acre parcel. And this sits pretty much in the center of the parcel. This is Swain's Neck. So it's not visible from the harbor nor from the road. You can see by your site plan on the cover sheet where this sits. It's been clouded in red relative to a tennis court that was recently approved. So this will sit tangent to that tennis court. So it's about as central to the lot as it gets. That said, vernacularly wise, we're trying to match most of the lines of the main house. The main house, existing main house is a gambrel design. So Phelan property, it was the Pink House property, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So what, the gym is halfway back from the house to the house and the barn at the street?
Yeah, about that, closer to the main house than it will be to the barn. It's about midway between the bridge
Yeah.
and the main house, thereabouts. Yeah,
Disguised as a house.
Wow.
yeah.
Where's this part?
What,
I'm confused. Can I go back to the
what,
site?
what, do you have what we have?
Yep, I do.
A12.1?
Yes.
Is that, what building is that?
So that is the building.
That's the gym?
What's proposed, yeah, it'll be a gym, studio space, and car barn. So it's multiple purposes.
So it's like a conglomerate of
okay.
buildings?
Yeah, it'll straddle
Oh, I
along the
see,
tennis
okay.
court. So the idea is that the gym facility will be part of the recreational facility.
Could you tell us about visibility here? Because my
Zero.
feeling, yep.
Zero.
That's
Zero from the waters and certainly nothing from the road.
What's the elevation? 25.
You know, it's fairly typical. I think the only thing that may be atypical is the north elevation. Again, it can't be seen from really anywhere except
Well,
the
it
interior of the
dips
lot.
on the way to the house, and
It
then the
does.
house comes up again.
And in fact, they don't even want to see this building so much from the main house, so it's really nestled in existing vegetation. It's gonna be all that's up inside.
Okay.
It's
Val.
I am very familiar with this property. I actually have the original plans of the pink house.
Well, I wanna see those. I've only seen some
My aunt and
photos.
uncle lived there for years as the
Really?
caretakers.
Oh my God.
I'll call you. I'd love to see.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
cool.
They live in
You can't see
Lucas,
this.
right? Lucas, was it the Lucas?
Yes.
Oh, they got
Yeah.
a bridge and everything. Huh?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
it's a sweet property. It's a
Yeah,
beautiful
this is-
property.
Johnny, you got anything?
Drool anymore?
Finished drawing.
Well, I would
TJ?
just say
I'm
motion
not on
to-
this one. Yeah,
Jesse?
Jesse's on it.
Oh,
I-
Jesse, what do you say?
you know, it's overall a nice design, but the lack of visibility is, I would say that's
You'll never
a good
see
motion.
it.
You'd have to be invited over.
Right. They lived in London. All right, so may I have a motion
Motion to approve.
to approve? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Anybody against?
Finest
Thanks,
time?
Mark.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You say we're doing 14 or 15?
No, TJ.
Are we?
TJ.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's gonna be.
God.
Okay. We got hardscaping at 3 Wall Street.
Yeah, that's over there, corner of Tacoma and Wait, just right over there.
Right. I
And
thought
what,
that doesn't belong to the town?
no, it's Habitat. I think the town gave,
Oh, that's
Belong
right.
to
they gave you
Habitat.
that.
You already did something over there, right?
yeah, there's a house, they're just finishing up, and we just wanted to put a fence in on the property line. The fence on the property line, we fenced the 5-in-1 up to the corner of the house at 20 Tacoma. If you look at the site key there, he just wants to hide, he wants to screen against the messy backyard of the neighbor at Tacoma. And then hedge the rest of the way, and then we're just doing a little cedar AC enclosure in the back of the house. You'll never see it.
Okay, will you put, like Steve says, to put like maybe at every post, some sort of vegetation or something to lighten, I mean, not on their side, obviously, but I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
wait to see what other people say.
Not a plain fence, but something growing on it, either in the backside, going over, or if you have room on the front side.
Sure. What would be typical, like an ivy or?
Ivy or climbing hydrangea,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good idea.
not sweet autumn feathers.
Yeah.
I'll give you sweet
The ivy
autumn
will
feathers.
eventually
It's
damn.
free.
Climbing hydrangea or
Yeah.
sweet autumn.
So sweet what?
Sweet autumn.
Clematis.
That's actually nice.
It is.
Yeah, the climbing hydrangea is the one that won't get you in trouble.
Don't we want
Okay.
invasive? Or
But
invasive?
there's honeysuckle, there's
Or
also
evasive.
nice pretty flowers.
He's gonna put some, he'll put in some plant growing stuff.
A motion to approve with vegetation more or less at every post. Is that good?
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, the next one is Porch Roof and 8 Whitetail Circle.
One more.
So-
Done.
If you put it in the center of every section,
COA only needs to be
Yeah.
signed by the
the
chairman.
post is tough because the post, it's
You
just,
know, legislation.
you put it in the middle.
Center of the center,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Cause then you can maintain it,
Yeah.
just on the side.
Okay.
Legislation I don't know about. Did they change it? All of them this time?
You went to Omnibus Museum?
Oh, I have a friend that works there.
So this, is out in, Tom Evers, Whitetail Circle. It's pretty far set back from the road, and he's applying he just wants to change the kitchen windows on the second floor in the gable end from 2 to 3 windows. And on this application, we're also proposing rafter tails on the front porch. But he just called me today and said he doesn't want the rafter tails on the front porch, so, if we were to approve this, maybe we could do it, approval through staff, and I could submit drawings without the rafter
So
tails.
on the east elevation, you're going to put 3 windows up.
Yeah, and that's really it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, I'm sorry, I was looking and not hearing what you were saying about the rafter.
So he doesn't actually want to do the rafter tails anymore.
Oh,
I just found out
okay.
today, so.
Yeah,
so,
I'm good with this.
Me too.
and good, Johnny?
Yeah.
Good,
Motion approved
Can I
through
have a
staff without
motion
the
to-
rafter tails.
no rafter tails.
Motion approved through staff without the rafter tails.
Speaker, yeah.
All
She just
those-
asked you if you were
I
okay.
said, yes, I'm looking.
Oh, you didn't say
I'm
yes, you were
sorry,
okay.
sorry, I thought you said yes.
Rafter.
Yes.
You're getting
Rafter tails.
contrarian.
Yes, my only question on it is, it's got a 3 and a 6-inch pick. Is this the one?
Well, does the porch have that?
Right here.
There's no way it's a 3. We usually put that in as a floor.
Only by what this here says.
Okay.
It is 3 and a 6.
Oh, okay.
Gable, no?
Yeah, that's, we had to do that because we couldn't fit it in under the windows.
Can I take these home?
It's already approved that way. He's already framed it, so.
All right, so
Steve made a motion.
Steve made a motion. All those in favor of Steve's motion, which is to approve without the rafter tails?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Watson.
Nice guy.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any note, we have to approve any minutes? Do you want us to approve any minutes?
Yes,
You
I
wanna
hope
do any
so,
of those
because they're
things
holding
down
me
below?
up.
No,
Steve, you got any reports on that?
Well, we
We
get
need
the
them-
minutes first.
You do the minutes first,
We
please.
got the minutes first.
The minutes. Oh, I got you, yeah, okay.
okay, that is March 21, 26, 28 of 2019, and April 4th
Vote to
of
approve.
2019. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Terry,
you.
Terry, I'll abstain. I think I was gonna submit some changes and I never got around to them.
So you're abstaining?
Yeah.
1 abstention and 4 approvals. Okay,
Madam Chair, I have a brief update on the Vineyard Wind project, and I'd like to ask that we make sure that the 2 other items stay on the agenda for the next regular meeting.
yes, I would do that. I just wanted to explain that I called Diane to come and get me. And she's been waiting half an hour,
Okay. Well,
very patiently.
we appreciate your patience, as does the island of Nantucket. Okay?
Excuse me, that's the cold I had for a month.
Can Steve want to give us a small short update on what's happening?
Thanks for teeing me up there.
Huh?
Yeah, I will. So look, I'm not gonna get into a lot of detail with the Vineyard Wind, wind turbine project. We discussed it quite a bit. It's a lot to unpack. But, where we are right now is we're kind of in a crux position. So BOEM, issued a letter, of adverse, they issued a finding, and that included indirect adverse effects. The problem with indirect adverse effects is it doesn't give us the level of mitigation that many of us who are involved as representatives of different boards and commissions feels is necessary or required. So they are not supporting relocation of the turbines to help mitigate adverse visual effects. They are not, there are various things, I'm just gonna cover a couple of them. They are not agreeing that the aircraft lighting, there's an ADLS is the acronym for a lighting system that shuts off and will only turn on when there are planes in proximity. And the relevancy of this is that we're talking about over 826,000 square acres of wind turbine development on the horizon, on our southern horizon. So the ADLS would allow, the idea that we've been supporting is that be a best practices application and not part of a mitigation package, so that it's not so that as a matter of practice, any other wind turbine development in this area would be required to have those. They have not found specific impacts. They have not been determined despite our requests. The accuracy and the adequacy of the visual simulations are still questioned, and very reasonably so. Let's see here. In keeping with your vote and others involved, we have a letter of agreement tender from a highly regarded council whose recent success includes leveraging poor regulatory oversight and methodology by a federal agency, resulting in the reversal of that project's permit. And I say that, but I want to point out that we, myself, well, first of all, their involvement will be as advice and counsel in the process, and myself as the HDC rep and others who are involved intend and are pursuing those discussions in good faith. So their involvement, as I said, is advice and counsel on the intricacies. We're not experts, they most certainly are. And then last but not least, Friday, a letter went out to BOEM with our mitigation requests, and through you, Madam Chair, I just asked that John would forward that to the commission. Copy is emailed to him and to the chair and others, and if he could do that maybe tomorrow or something, that'd be great. We are meeting again on Monday, the 29th, and there's some other stuff going on. We hope to get BOEM to the table to be working with us in these matters because they're of terrible importance. No one who is involved is against the idea of green energy or the wind turbines. We just want to make sure that there's an accurate assessment of what it is, what the adverse effects will be. We believe there will be direct adverse effects with respect to our maritime and preservation and tourism history, and the visual, just the concept of the unbroken ocean view that's really essential to the identity and character of Nantucket. We'd like to have that recognized and responded to, and we hope to, as I said, continue that when we meet with them Monday. So that's the update on that.
Thanks, Steve.
Before we leave, can we please add synthetic materials back onto the agenda until we discuss it?
Yep.
So it can come up every week until we discuss it. Thank you.
I don't. If these wind farms, which is supposed to be the biggest wind farm in the country, cramming it into the smallest space to do it, are we in any sort of position to sue them, to stop them, to make noise so that people don't think it's an accepted thing that's going to happen no matter what?
Well, along the lines, you can indict a hand sandwich. Anyone can sue anyone. And so that's a matter that would, if that were to, you know, if discussions were to break down and there was a lack of satisfaction with the result, then I suppose that could be something that could be done. We're looking to engage, and the council I mentioned is someone, is a national public interest firm that specializes in this area of federal regulatory litigation. And the reason that they've been contacted is not to promote litigation, but to give us the tools to understand how to make the negotiations happen in a way that address our concerns so that litigation doesn't have to happen.
Right.
I think that's fair to say, and it's in keeping with the idea that we want to negotiate in good faith. We want a positive outcome. If a positive outcome can't be made, then that is when I, as your representative, would suggest we would discuss whether there was some idea of litigation.
On behalf of ACRATS, who is not related to HDC, we are prepared to do that.
Yeah, you need some serious appropriation.
Somebody is, I can't believe.
I had a comment, to the members. This has been hanging for a while here. The sheriff structured advisory board. Should we go ahead and accept it and get it over with, or what are we waiting on? Anybody got an idea?
I got the map
You
right
want a
here.
larger area a little bit, yeah, John has it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, let's do it.
It's simply for input, right?
We would be voting, as I understand it, Madam Chair, and John, to expand the review area.
Right.
All right, well, I make a motion, I ask for a motion to expand through the purple and blue lines.
So, yeah, Madam Chair,
Yes,
correct, the purple would be the added part, and this is similar to Nantucket a couple of months ago, or maybe a year ago.
right, and the core district is enlarged.
They wanted to expand their map of review of applications that come in, so Historic Structures is looking to expand their map, which the big bulk of it is up by, Lincoln Circle and down Hulbert Ave in that area. They
Right.
like to review applications that come in for that area, so.
So,
Can we make a motion to approve this map?
yes, I don't know why not.
Okay, I'd like to make that
All-
motion.
All those in favor of approving the submitted map,
Can I-
enlarging the purple and blue?
Can I have discussion on the motion for a moment? John, I just want a point of information. John, this is the map that we received a couple weeks ago. It's a copy of
I
it.
think it should be, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's-
And then we requested it being different.
We requested it in this form. I believe we received a copy
We
of
wanted all three.
the updated version. This is the updated version that we requested.
Correct.
We
yeah.
originally received one that didn't have
All three in
all three. So I just wanted to make sure, and I mean, I support it, but I just
That's good, thank you.
wanna make sure.
Okay.
All right,
That's my motion.
all those in favor of this
Aye.
motion? Aye. So all,
Motion to adjourn?
yes, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Who's working on that?
John, we've got that all ironed out. We just need to vote. So if you guys haven't looked at we're not talking about it.